Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. Smith, I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well, Matt Jones may take it to the house. The dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my hot dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Even one Razorback.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Morning, everybody. Good to be with you. Halftime Tuesday. Finally got the air conditioning working. Morning, Matt Jones. Good morning, C Maverick, C Unit. We'll figure out whatever you're going to be called
CO2.
today. Hold on one moment here, Matt Jones. You find a way to look pretty once again this morning. How did you pull it off?
Tell me, Phil, you're getting good at lying. I didn't know if you've ever known this, but it's one of your best qualities.
I just wanted to get that
That's
one
good.
out of the way.
I like
This
it.
will be the first of many lies I tell you on the show.
Yeah, it's not going to. Just know I notice it. I noticed those things.
It's all about effort in relationships, isn't it? Well, I'll continue to give that effort. We got our World Series field set. Got a look at the Georgia-North Carolina State game last night. NC State looked good in uniforms nonetheless. All camo uniforms with camo caps. Not a great look, but as far as it came to playing a fairly clean baseball game, I was impressed with Elliott Avant's team. So now you got an even field of 4 SEC teams, 4 ACC teams starting on Friday. Tennessee is the odds-on favorite. The top 3 odds are on SEC teams, Tennessee, A&M, and Kentucky. We got coaching news from not just college basketball in the NBA, where the Lakers are still looking for a head coach, and UConn apparently is going to be making Dan Hurley the most highest paid college coach, according to the Connecticut governor, who got in on this now. Governor Ned Lamont was quoted that the state of Connecticut will, quote, make sure he is the top paid college coach, unquote. That's not from the school chancellor. That's not from the athletics director. That's not from the school president or anybody on the board of trustees. It is from the governor of the state. There's a lot. I think in most states, if not all states, the highest paid public employee is a coach at a public university. But it's usually not the governor, Matt. That's the one that's saying, yeah, we're gonna make him the highest paid coach. If the governor says it, you got to make it happen, I guess, especially if it's a state university.
Well, Bristol's there. They got a lot of those ESPN personalities. You wonder where they live. But there's a lot of people making a lot of money, making more money than what Coach Hurley was. I went back and looked at the 2004 contract they offered Coach K, 5 years, $40 million, which was about the highest paid player or highest paid coach in the game at the time. 7 years, $80 million is not much difference than they didn't really offer him some big deal. They offered him a real mid-level type of deal when you're looking around what coaches are getting paid. As far as they acted, what I'm saying is they acted like we're going to just offer something crazy to him. They didn't. They offered him a very mid price range.
Well, also, I think when the Lakers were looking for Coach K, they weren't quite like in the position where they are right now. They
had a guy by the name of Kobe Bryant on that team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They had a young star. Now they might have a young star too, but they don't have the makeup. They don't have the titles that they had just won while they were looking for Coach K. So 20 years makes a pretty big difference. I've seen how many coaches have they had since Phil Jackson retired? I had it on my notes here. They've had 6 head coaches in 12 years.
Well, and that's the other thing. Phil Jackson was making $10, $12 million a year. they're offering 8. You know, what is that? 7 years, 80 million. That's about 8-9 million or so a year. And so they just came in with a regular. They didn't really try. They act like you're going to shock the world. They didn't. They just offered them I wouldn't move to California. I'm making the same. I mean, Connecticut, you pay high taxes too. That's the first thing I look at. Connecticut and California's, you know, you're paying 48%.
That is usually the first thing you'll mention when you're looking where somebody's taking a job.
Hey, state income tax, that'll pay your agent, that'll pay a lot of people. You go to one of those places.
Yeah, you're not joking. I've never actually spent much time in the state of Connecticut either. For me, it's been a drive-through state.
Yeah.
Well, it's just been a drive-through state, you know, going from New York up to Boston. And it's been a long time since I was there. But if you read, you hear the ESPN personalities talk about what Bristol was like. I don't know what it's like now, but when ESPN was a burgeoning operation, even up until I think 10, 15 years ago, it was like a nothing land. They just kind of put ESPN right down in the middle of almost nowhere.
Well,
I
now
don't know
they're
much
a
about
casino.
stores either.
Yeah, now they're a betting estate. They're a casino. They just keep building more and more and more.
You know, that's a really good point. They are.
They're printing money now.
News operation, league partner, broadcaster, and sports gambler. Although I guess it's Penn Gaming that really owns the casino or the sports book that they have, but it's branded by ESPN, so I kind of think that's who it is. JT wants one of those mid-level deals.
Go
like
win
the Lakers
back-to-back
offered.
national championships.
That's
somewhere.
what I was going to say.
Got to put the work in, the resume.
You got to work your way up from high school coach to two-time national champion for a mid-level offer too.
I think right now in the NBA, he would have been the 9th highest paid coach. When I saw the Popovich is making 19. That's Steve Kerr's making 17. Sproles is making 15. So I started looking at where he would slot in. Drew Holiday was ahead of him. So he was going to be somewhere around 8th or 9th. And for the Laker job, in my opinion, I think it's, and we'll ask Chuck or we can ask whoever, and people have all sorts of opinions on what you want to say and the way technology is in the interweb. And the Laker job's the number one job in the NBA.
You think so?
I think it's
Well, why do you think? Part of it has to be who you're working for.
It's like the Alabama in football. There's only one thing that happens that means a successful year.
Well, it's like if you catch fire at this place, you can keep it lasting for a long time. And you have evidence of that from not just
Pat
one
Riley,
coach, but
Phil,
various coaches. Not just one guy. That's why it's like you look at Dabo at Clemson, you're thinking, well, that's a one-time thing potentially. Or
He's
maybe
not.
it's
No, he's past his time to leave. He'll be at
Feels like
Clemson.
it.
I think so. I think it. I mean, if you were a team, if Arkansas in 2 years, you'd offer Dabo, wouldn't you? I don't think
you are looking ahead today, aren't you?
I don't think Dabo would take it though. Was what I'm saying. I think Dabo seems like he's stuck in. He's got his roots. He's like that. He's like a flea. He's embedded in. He's right there.
I guess I have a tough time feeling he would coach anywhere else. That maybe he would go into the ministries or something after he leaves Clemson. You know, but that's the only place he's been a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's other big coaching news that's coming from college sports right now, and there's NFL coaching news. The Steelers have signed Mike Tomlin to an extension, taking him through the 2027 season. I guess you always have, anytime you say Mike Tomlin, you have to throw out there, did you know he's never had a losing season? And
enter Russell Wilson.
well, I don't think they're going to have a losing season. It might be another mid-season, but no, maybe not like 7 and 10 or something like that. But the one that really comes out of nowhere is the news that I guess the announcement will come today whenever the University of South Carolina Board of Regents meets and approves the contract, is that South Carolina baseball, they just a week ago fired Mark Kingston, is going to hire Paul Maneri as their new head coach. 68 years old, will be, I think, the 5th stop on his coaching career that started in the early 80s at St. Thomas. And, of course, we know him much more as a national champion head coach from LSU. Last coaching season there was 2021. The word was retirement. It feels more like he was pushed out now because we've seen retirements that last fewer than 3 years, but that's the length of his retirement. He's about to take over South Carolina, and that's kind of like that's a nuclear bomb dropped into the middle of college baseball just before the College World Series starts. I don't think anybody expected that. Very interesting. Also, the fact that he's being hired by a man that he coached against for at least 4 or 5 years. Ray Tanner, the athletics director at South Carolina, also 2-time national champion. I don't remember the last year he coached there. It might have been 2012. I think their last national title and the last time they made Omaha. So they would have coached against each other right around the times when their programs were at the top of the list. So, man, I would not have seen that one coming. I thought maybe you could compare this in some way to Calipari coming over to Arkansas for basketball, but he never retired. He didn't walk away from coaching and say, that's it for me, and I'm going to go ride off into the distance and be a grandfather and all of that sort of stuff, and then 3 years come back. No. This is someone that was out of college baseball for 3 years and now is coming back to the highest level. So that was a really, really interesting bit of news yesterday.
And yesterday, I think I said that the women were going for their 9th straight gold. They're going for their 8th straight gold. So I can clear that up. They were since 1992 that a women Olympics team is 70-3. They're going for their 8th straight gold this year in Paris.
Well, speaking of Olympics and the whole Caitlin Clark controversy, it's official now. Team USA was announced this morning. She is not on the roster. We have our own friend Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation. Will be covering the Olympics. For Next Star. We'll have her in about an hour. Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, hour number 3. I'm sure Bill will be paying attention to, once we get off the show today, Matt, 2 o'clock, the SEC will release all of the kickoff times for conference games. I saw a tweet coming from Brandon Marcello today. I had thought that I'd forgotten this year they're not just doing the kickoff times 3 weeks ahead of kickoff. We already got, I think it's the first, 2-3 weeks? I think you got at least the first 3 weeks kickoffs. And I guess outside of the November, I think is that who Arkansas plays in November, you'll get every other kickoff time.
We've gotten 3 night games in the last 3 years. Don't expect a lot of night games.
Depending on who the opponent is, right?
Yeah, but nobody wants to show up and see a 40-7 type of game. It's still got to be competitive.
All right, so and in just a moment, Chuck Barrett joins us as well. So that means me and Chuck can sort of plan out our lives a little bit for the football season, because a lot of that is based upon kickoff times and your calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline as we go throughout the show today. So lots to get to. Voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, joins us right after this.
This is Halftime. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Yeah, no longer do I order scrambled eggs at a restaurant or make them that way. I do over easy from here on out.
Does this qualify as a philosophical change, Ty? You're going from scrambled to sunny side up, or is it merely an adjustment?
I think it's a big philosophical change.
Okay.
I know people have been advocating for that.
Don't miss The Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Sunday, June 16th is Father's Day, so honor your special dad with a gift from Jelco Outdoors. Gifts for the working dad, fishing dad, hunting dad, hiking dad, gifts for any dad. FN Guardian 556 AR-15s. Save $200 off. Now only $799.99. Fishing rods and reels for any dad. Hey Dude footwear for dad. Buy one pair, get a second pair 50% off. A great selection of Yeti products for dad. And Jelco gift cards are always a perfect fit. Shop Jelco Outdoors for dad this Father's Day.
What's new at Wheeler Power Sports? Short answer, a lot. All new Kawasaki Ninja 500, Z500, Eliminators, and Mule Pro diesels. New Kawasaki Ridge side-by-side is now arriving. New Polaris Expeditions and Ranger XD 1500s. New Suzuki GSX 8R. New 2024 model Polaris Slingshots, including the Roush Edition, are now in stock. Check us out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see us at downtown Fort Smith at 901 North 11th Street. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
Summer is finally here. Come check out Kofer's Boat Center's huge selection of boats with the best incentives in years. Kofer's experienced professionals will answer all your boating questions, and their award-winning customer service with Mercury, Malibu, Lowe, Camus, and Garmin will keep your boat in peak condition. Kofer's also has a fully stocked pro shop and updated RV and boat storage facilities. Find Kofer's online at Kofers.com. That's COPHERS.com. Kofer's Boat Center, your authorized Mercury dealer, helping their customers create a lifetime of memories for over 50 years.
Are you tired of processed meat and flimsy sandwiches? Subchain's gotten to your last nerve? Then I have the place for you. Come see my buddy Josefa at Lily's Sandwich Shop in the Bakery District in downtown Fort Smith. Locally sourced meat sliced daily and fresh breads from Harvest Moon Bakery. Daily specials announced on Facebook, including the Poke Bowl every Friday and Saturday. For to-go orders, call 479-567-3403.
My name is Lily. My Baba makes the best sandwiches at Lily's Sandwich Shop. Come by and see him at the Bakery District today.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers. Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Fort Smith's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
The tailgating scene on a perfect fall day in the natural state. Calling the Hogs with 75,000 plus as the Razorbacks run through the A. And all the things you love about football game days are near. Football season tickets are now on sale for marquee matchups against Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, and longtime rival and new SEC foe, Texas.
Slant, caught, touchdown, Arkansas.
Experience game day on the Hill and secure your seat and tailgating space by visiting ArkansasRazorbacks.com or by calling the Hogs at 800-982-HOGS.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
And we've got voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, with us here for a couple of segments on our McClarty Daniel hotline. And he just reminded me, as we play one of my favorite Stone songs, the Stones are coming not far from Arkansas in Branson. When is this? July 21st in Ridgedale, Missouri. I've seen photos.
That's where Big Cedar is.
Yes. I've never seen the Stones. It would be worth a trip. The only problem is I'm in New York City that day. So
it's just incredible to me that the Rolling Stones are playing in Ridgedale. Hey, that's the power of Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops, the whole deal. I mean, he's built a little playground up there, and if you're going to build a playground, I guess you got to bring the Stones in.
I guess you do.
The Rolling Stones are playing in Ridgedale, Missouri. I mean, stop and think about that for a minute. At the Ozarks Amphitheater. Did you ever think you would see that? They're playing in L.A. the night before.
I was going to say, it's not because they can't still sell out the stadiums.
No, I mean, I don't know what they're getting paid, but it's probably the same thing they're getting paid to play the night before in Los Angeles would be my guess.
It's like one of my favorite songs by the Bare Naked Ladies says, everything old is new again. And I'm reminded of that now. Looking, do you see Paul Maneri hired by South Carolina as head baseball coach?
I didn't see that one coming.
I don't think anybody saw it coming.
I did not see that one. Now, that goes to the mutual respect between Ray Tanner and Paul Maneri. These are guys that competed against one another for national championships. South Carolina was really good then, and so was LSU. And they were the two best teams in the league. LSU would always win the West, and South Carolina would always win the East. Those are two great baseball minds. I don't know how long he's going to do it, but clearly he got bored. And, he knows what he's doing. Hey, I'll tell you a quick story about Paul Maneri before we move on. Back in 1995, I was going through, and maybe you do this sometimes, Phil. Matt, you probably have old things you go through. I was going through an old scorebook that I found. And the Razorbacks in 1994 played in the Armed Forces Classic in Millington, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. They played Notre Dame. Paul Mainieri was the head coach. I remembered that. And a fellow named Brad Lidge was the starting pitcher for Notre Dame that day in my scorebook. I didn't even remember Brad Lidge even played for Notre Dame. That's, you do so many years, you just forget things. But I remember when Mainieri was at Notre Dame, and then he took the LSU job, and he was too young to retire. He was just burned out. And now he's got his juices flowing again. And, I mean, you can only goof off so much.
That's true. Well, also it's also the idea, and we can move on from this in a moment.
Yeah, that's okay.
You just look at the schools in the SEC that have taken themselves to the level where they weren't when Mainieri was even the head coach at LSU, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia. I mean, A&M's been there for a while, so is Florida. And the name brand doesn't matter right now for South Carolina. To me, that's what it's about. They've hired coaches from College of Charleston and South Florida in the last two hires. This is quite a bit different.
Well, evidently they've made a financial commitment to things like NIL, and he knows what they're going to invest in the baseball players. They've got great facilities and have for a while, but my guess would be they've made a commitment in terms of what they're going to pay their players, and that's why he's coming back to do it.
You surprised? Speaking of coaching hires, were you surprised Dan Hurley stayed there in UConn, not going out west?
A little bit, yes. It's hard to turn down the Lakers. I mean, it's hard to turn down the Lakers. To me, and this is obviously just from the outside looking in, is that, when you turn down the Lakers, it's not like, the T-Wolves are going to come calling. Maybe they will, but, I mean, sometimes when you turn down, if you're going to turn down the Lakers, you'll turn down anybody. And so, to me, it kind of boiled down to, does he want to coach in the NBA or does he want to be a college coach? And clearly, he likes being a college coach. And, Muss told me one time that, and he'd worked for the Lakers, that they are an organization that is much, he used the word cheap. Said they're a lot cheaper than you might realize. He said, you think the Lakers would have money to burn and would spend money, just on every, you would think it would be lavish because it's the Lakers. But day to day, it's really anything but that. It's still a family business, and they kind of run it like that and always have. And so I thought about that during all of this, and I don't know that it had anything to do with it at all. I just saying I thought about it. But, yes, to answer your question, I am a little bit surprised that he stayed. But he's got a great situation there, and it's one of those situations that if that's all he ever does, he's already in the top 1%. So, I mean, he's got a pretty good gig.
Your story there about what Muss have told you is reflected upon the way that Matt reacted to the contract offer, which –
the ninth highest in NBA. Like there were still going to be 9 coaches higher paid than him. Yeah.
But to me, that's also, Chuck, that's also a reflection of the differences between college and pro sports. And I don't know if this was in Hurley's mind or anything. You had just said about the Buss family. I mean, that's a family-owned business. That's where their money comes from. It's like the Steelers and the Rooney's family. That's where they make their money. It's different than billionaires that buy a team that are just looking for a toy. And in college, well, nobody's getting the nobody's
UConn
making
was 45th in basketball operations last year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Talking to a lot of the guys that were on Muss's staff spent a lot of time in the NBA. Moser and some of these other guys did, and the one thing that is starkly different, I'm certain, is that in college basketball, the head coach is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his word is law. He really doesn't have a boss. It's almost like the athletic directors work for the coaches sometimes, a lot of times, quite honestly. In the NBA, and I'm sure it was this way in professional football too, I mean, you've got layers, and you don't always determine who your starters are going to be. You don't always get to make all of the basketball decisions. And a lot of times the people that insist that you follow their plan don't know the game the way you do. They're computer people. And you've got layers in professional sports that a coach has to deal with, whereas in college, there is no layer. You are the layer. And so I would think from a coaching perspective, when you are already at a basketball factory, which UConn is, and whatever you got to do, whatever you got to pay to get the best players in the country, they're getting them. So I can understand, on the other hand, why I would think this is a pretty good gig, and maybe I don't need to jump into that.
I think what you're talking about there was reflected. Do you remember I don't remember exactly how long it was after Pete Carroll had been let go or retired, however you want to put it, from the Seattle Seahawks coaching job, which I think also included the GM job. But he was talking about how there were other voices in the room that, I don't know if he used this term, but he didn't respect their football opinions because they didn't come from the inside football perspectives. And you certainly, look, you got all kinds of people like that in college sports. It's just they're inside the administration. They're not inside the coaches' offices and meeting with the coaches about this and that and who we want on the team and everything. And yeah, I think control is definitely an aspect of this, of why you might want to stay in college.
Well, you think about, it would be unheard of for an athletic director to call the head coach and say, we need to figure out a way to get this guy some more playing time. It would just be unheard of. But that happens in pro sports. And generally the people on the other end of the line are the people that Pete Carroll was talking about. They've got a motive, and it doesn't always, come from the desire to win. And you just don't have to deal with that in college sports.
NBA Finals, 2-0. Boston, do you give the Mavericks a fighting chance? Need to win these next 2 at home?
Yes, I give them a chance. Now, I do think the layoff hurt them. I mean, they had a lot of momentum going, and I know basketball is not a day-to-day sport, but Boston, really was clearly the better team on their home floor. Dallas has got to win both games. If they win both games in Dallas, it's a series. If they lose even one of them, it's over. It probably won't come back. So pressure's on tomorrow night, and if they win tomorrow night, it'll really be going on Friday night.
Do you think just as much as anybody it's on Kyrie?
Well, he's got to do more than he did in Boston, that's for sure. There's no doubt about it. And I think he will. The question's going to be, and I do think Dallas has a real chance to win both games there. But if they do, the question's going to be, can they win a game in Boston? Is it 2-3-2 in the finals now, or is it back to 2-1-1-1?
1-1-1 has
All
how
right,
they finished.
so they got 2 in Dallas, and then they'd go back to Boston. If they're going to get to Game 6, Kyrie's got to play great in Games 3 and 4, because we've not seen anything yet that makes you think he'll play well in Boston.
And that's the formula, Chuck, for Dallas. When they were beating Minnesota, it was both, I think Kyrie and Luka have 6 or 7 games this postseason where they both scored 30 in the same game. So that's kind of you got to get your role players, your B players, whatever you want to call them. They usually play better at home, so you're right about that. And usually everybody should play a little better at home. But your superstars are supposed to be able to travel. And then Boston, to me, Chuck, they have just been so much more physical, controlling the paint. I mean, Lob City, they don't have any action with those bigs in the paint. They've just been the more physical team those first 2 games.
Well, they've been the best team all year long. And, they do or did what a lot of teams do that are in their position. I mean, they showed some signs at the end of the regular season like, well, I don't know. I mean, they're maybe they've already peaked. But now we see, they are the best team, and they're going to win the series, I think. But for Dallas to even make it competitive, they've got to win these 2 games. And for a lot of the reasons you just said, I think it's going to be hard for them to do. But I do think Dallas has a shot. I don't think they're going to blow them out either game, but I think they could win a couple of close games.
Well, and I'm with you. And Kristoff, if he limped up in that second game with that calf strain and soft tissue issues, and he had all that time off, and he's still hobbling, that might be a key right there. If he doesn't play, that could sway the tide back to advantage Dallas.
Well, and you're right. And when you look at some of the things they've done with Porzingis, like let's say, for example, they have a knockdown drag out tomorrow night, and Dallas wins. What do they do with Porzingis Friday night, knowing they're coming back to Boston for Game 5? Or they're up 2-0. And as you say, I mean, how do they handle him with a 2-0 lead Wednesday night? Do they?
I wouldn't play him. I told C. Maverick that. I said, there's no way I play him. You got 2-0 lead. You let him get another rest, that soft tissue stuff the way it is. And honestly, Chuck, that first game.
That might be the way to go.
Yeah, he never got sped up that first game. That second game, he started feeling a little froggy again and started jumping and doing more things, trying to be explosive. And just tell him to remember, 80% of what he can do at 80% is still better than anything they have. And just stay almost box to box, foul line to foul line, get your shot, and just help protect the rim a little bit.
Yeah, Dallas has got to make him, and I think they will at home. Dallas got to make him run. They've got to make him be what he is. I mean, he's they've just got to force him to do some of the things that you talked about, run and jump and play defense, and you got to make him do those things. If they do, and I think they will, Dallas got a chance to get to the rim, and you said a little bit earlier, I mean, they're part of the reason Kyrie's struggling is that Boston's been really good defensively.
Well, another guy we got back feeling, Chuck, is Trevion Brazil's coming back to be a Hog. Do you not watch Trevion Brazil and mirror his game to like an Al Horford or a Kristaps Porzingis? Like, to me, that's kind of the thing that he could do, I think. And now Kristaps, he's been in the league, 7-10 years, so Brazil has another decade to get there. But when you start seeing, and it makes you kind of excited for him, because you could see Brazil kind of being that type of player. He has the ability.
He's so raw. And we've really not seen him. We've not seen the finished product yet. I'll be honest. I was a little surprised by this, I'm anxious to see what Trevin can develop into. As we discussed a few weeks ago, he went to the NBA pre-draft camp and struggled, and so not the first, won't be the last. But he can. I don't know where he fits in all this in terms of the rotation, but certainly, you talk about a guy that was here before. There's a familiar face, but if you really look at what is going to bring continuity to this team, it's going to be the guys that were with him at Kentucky, because they're going to be in their second year with him. What kind of leap do they make? The best players make their biggest leap between their freshman and sophomore years. The best players always do. Pick your sport. And what kind of leap do those guys make? Because that, to me, is going to tell a big part of the story of this season. But for Brazil, it's going to be a little bit different because he's adjusting to a whole new system. He's familiar to us, but not to them. So I am anxious to see what he can develop into. And I don't know that it's just going to be a one-year deal. Might be 2 years here still. I don't know. But I'm anxious to see what he can develop into, and I hope that he can play an entire season. If he plays the entire season, he probably will be a one-year guy.
Chuck's with us for another segment. We can open our McClarty Daniel hotline for you right now, 877-377-6963. We are right up against the break, and we'll be back in a moment.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and...
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas. More than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McCarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online. The game starts here.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas.
Here comes old Rose. She's looking mighty fine. Here comes Hot Nancy. She's stepping right on time. Here goes the street lights. Bring it on tonight. Here come the man. Face is hidden from the light. All through the shadows. Oh, they come and they go. They got the fire down below.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, let's get right to our McClarty Daniel hotline. I appreciate Jimmy and B Branch. You waited through that commercial break. Jimmy, we were right up against the break, so thanks for your patience. You got Chuck Barrett here on halftime, too. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine, guys. That's fine. Honored to talk to y'all guys. Just a little scoop from somebody that used to work for Johnny Morris. Apparently, Keith Richards was on a fishing trip out of the country. and Johnny Morris happened to be at that place fishing and invited Keith to come with them. They loaded up the boat, and Keith told him, said, hey, if there's ever anything we can do, we will be there. And Johnny said, well, by the way, I've got an amphitheater I'd like for y'all to play at.
That's a great story.
That's too much, Jimmy.
That is how, and I can promise you that Johnny Morris is not paying what usually the Rolling Stones get, because my family member, worked for him for a long time, and he knows that he's not paying the regular price, but he got the Stones to come.
That's a feather in his cap right there.
Jimmy, I've read some pretty wild Keith Richards stories, heard some others too. This is the first Keith Richards fishing story that I've ever, probably the first Rolling Stones fishing story I've ever heard. So well done.
Would never see Keith Richardson in a boat fishing. I can tell you, but apparently Johnny made a big impression on him, and so that's why they are at the amphitheater playing.
I think that's great. That's a great story. Thank you,
Jimmy. Thank you very much. Like Paul Harvey once said, and now you have the rest of the story. It's exactly how it happened. Thanks for Jimmy and B Branch. I love origination stories. That's how the Rolling Stones ended up in. It's not Branson. What's the name of the town again?
Ridgedale. It's just south of Branson, where Big Cedar is. You know, years ago, and I mean like 44 years ago, this amphitheater up in Lampe, it was closed down for a long time. I think they've opened it back up. In 1980, Ray Charles and George Jones played on the opening night in Lampe, Missouri, and I was there. I was 17 years old, and saw Ray Charles and George Jones on opening night. And so every once in a while, I remember it because it was the night after Ray Charles had sang America the Beautiful at the Republican National Convention. Reagan was president. And somehow or another, they got him to Lampe, Missouri the next night and played there. So every once in a while, in these hills, you'll have some Hall of Famers show up and play.
You just gave me an origination story from the famous Ray Charles, America the Beautiful. I've heard that, but I didn't know where he sang that, though. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot today, Matt. This is like an educational radio program.
Well, yeah, it's always a pleasure having Chuck's insight on Chuck.
The old guys get the geezers on here.
Chuck, I just saw this, and I would say I'd take this group and I'd give you the field. So here's your field. Here's your group for the U.S. Open: Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy.
Ooh.
What a group is that? I'd say a win.
Group.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd take that.
This
group.
heater,
what odds are somebody else will win it, but I wouldn't hesitate to take that group.
Scotty's won what, 5 of his last 8 entries?
All those guys are playing great.
Oh my goodness.
All those guys are playing great right now. Yeah, I wouldn't bet a nickel against Scotty Scheffler.
Where is this one? It's at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Carolina, Pinehurst number 2, yeah.
You know, the golf people that I know, I mean really golf people that really know the game, say he's the best ball striker since Tiger. Tiger's the best of all time. Scheffler's second best.
Wow. That's mighty praise.
Well, he makes it look he plays golf like the Joker plays basketball. He never gets sped up. He's always under control. He just kind of walking, and it's never too big. He's like, oh, I got this shot. And he makes the right play. You know, if it's this way or do this, he does the right play 9 out of 10 times.
He was even cool when he went to jail.
Still made his tee time.
You know, I mean, he's got ice water in his veins.
Did you see the video of the guy who pulled up at Valhalla golf course yesterday with the police mannequins on the side of his vehicle?
No, I didn't see that. But you knew it was bound to happen.
I didn't realize that was bad. It's like the one I told these guys this at the regional. I saw some of the Razorback players at Fayetteville. I forget who the name was. The poor Louisiana Tech right fielder who literally smacked his head into the wall chasing a line drive.
Yeah.
That's the time where the next day, I don't know if the NCAA site hosts would let you do it, but I've seen it before. I don't know if I've seen it with the Razorbacks, but in minor league baseball, that's usually when you get the police outline on the outfield fence of the guy who smacked up against it with his leg bent in an unnatural direction. They
Oh,
needed
that's
that
too
one.
much fun for the NCAA.
That's exactly right.
They would frown on that.
SEC versus ACC College World Series, Chuck.
Yeah,
This is it's the first time that they'd have only two conferences at the College World Series since it was a series of two teams back in like 1952.
Won't be the last time either.
Probably not. Maybe eventually we'll
It
get
could
it all.
happen next year.
Maybe eventually we'll get it. Well, yes, it can happen next year too, and there might be maybe a couple more like Big Ten entries than before. You get a school like Oregon or Washington's made it too. That could happen, but the SEC is just getting tougher, and that's why I see South Carolina making a hire like Maneri. And this league is getting tougher, and it's not just because of the two teams that are joining it. It's because of schools that are putting money into baseball in some cases too. In a short matter of time, which of the sports do you think is most affected by Texas and Oklahoma joining this league?
Well, I think probably it depends on which coach you ask. They'd probably all say their sport. Oklahoma and Texas are really good at baseball. They'll come in and they'll be contenders right away. They're really good in softball. They could come in and win the league right out of the chute. They could do in softball what we did in basketball years and years ago. They could join the league and just, slap everybody around. So, but I would say probably one of those two sports, if I had to pick one. Now, Texas and Oklahoma will certainly affect football, and they'll affect basketball. I don't know that both of them will compete for championships right away the way they will in baseball and softball.
Chuck, let's leave it there. Hope your summer started off well. We'll look forward to having you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chuck.
Chuck Barrett, voice of the Razorbacks, with us each Tuesday on Halftime. And, of course, the Give Me the Hogs, Chuck podcast is available for download throughout the week, and he'll be on the Morning Rush, and Ruskin and Zach later on, too. We will come back and wrap up our number one of Halftime in just a moment.
This is Halftime.
Superior Siding and Windows have been improving homes in Fort Smith and the River Valley for over 44 years. Whether your need is siding, vinyl windows, doors, gutters, or metal roofing, Superior Siding is the one to call if you want it done right the first time. Call 479-646-7888 for a free estimate. 100% financing is available, and Superior Siding has AAA rating with Better Business Bureau. Superior Siding, your first call, 479-646-7888.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Have you tried the TGI Friday weekday deals? On Monday, they have 50-cent wings, traditional or boneless, 10-piece minimum. Tuesday, cheeseburgers and fries with a fountain drink for $10. On Wednesday, Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta for only $12. On Thursday, enjoy a half a rack of ribs for only $12. Stop by and check out the weekday deals at TGI Fridays, I-540 at Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. In here, it's always Friday.
Warning, warning, attention all homeowners. Hi, this is Justin at West Termite Pest and Lawn. It's definitely bug season, and we are priced to earn your business. Licensed in Arkansas and Oklahoma. Call today for a free evaluation, 479-782-7291. West Termite Pest and Lawn, protecting your home, health, and peace of mind.
All services performed with children and pets in mind.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
When it's time for breakfast, Calico County is making it all from scratch. You got the dedicated early morning crew at Calico are cooking up and serving buttermilk pancakes, moist biscuits, rich waffles, country fried potatoes, 3 types of gravy, and of course their famous cinnamon rolls and much more. They serve all of this and a lot more 7 days a week until 11 a.m. Stop in, call ahead, or get it to go. Or just come by and pick up a dozen cinnamon rolls for the office. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, roll on into Calico County. They're home cooking good. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Oh, hey, the new king in town.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
See, Maverick obviously notices that is Prince. Party Man is the song from the movie Batman. I just started thinking about Batman when somebody texted in about that yesterday because we talked about Prince, and I'd forgotten that he had released, I think it was Tim Burton had told him, I want a theme song for this movie. And, of course, Prince being Prince didn't just write him one song for the movie. He wrote him an entire soundtrack, and Burton used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole album, 1 through, I think it's 9 songs. And I love that Batman. I really do. I mean, that's kind of the Batman that stood out for me because I was 12 years old when it came out. I don't know if C. Maverick got to learn about Prince last weekend, maybe you should watch the original. It's not the original Batman movie, but for me it is.
Maybe watch it. There's about 5 of them to watch. I mean, Clooney was Batman. Val Kilmer was okay. I liked Val Kilmer Batman.
I'd even forgotten him as Batman.
Michael Keaton, of course.
I still think of him as Iceman.
Yeah. Michael Shannon's in a movie called Iceman. It's a mob movie. It's pretty cool. 80s mob.
I like the Christian Bale Batman.
Christian Bale's a G, man. Have you seen The Machinist with Christian Bale?
I might have.
It's years ago. Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale, Casey Affleck, Woody Harrelson. That's another one that's pretty
I
solid.
Think Christian Bale is your favorite actor.
No, he's just he's 8. He's not your favorite, but
is he number 8 on your top 10, or he's 8 out of 10 or 8 out of 11?
He's out of he would be. He's in the top. If Christian Bale's in a movie, I'll go watch it. You know, Paul Giamatti's up there. Like if Paul Giamatti's in a movie, I'm gonna go watch it. Like
I could watch Sideways any day of the week.
One of the best wine movies ever. Grape Juice galore. It was
Private Parts where he plays.
Who's that? Thomas Hayden Mann.
Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church is the other cat. Yeah.
Well, I just started thinking about this, especially with Christian Bale, because I saw you had put on things I got my eyes on this weekend. American Psycho again, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again. How many times have you seen these movies?
Well, no, it was Drive Away Dolls. It's a Coen Brothers movie. The girl is from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Okay. And so I saw it, and now the movie Coen Brothers, maybe I just don't get it, but it wasn't one of my favorites. And then I saw 06 Ryan Gosling, never seen The Notebook. Apparently that's one of Ryan Gosling's
I don't think you're going to sit there watching that movie by yourself.
Yeah, never, but I like Ryan Gosling, but it's back 06, it's Anthony Mackie. Just didn't buy into the acting. It was some kids and stuff and just wasn't. But it was a Coen brother. That first one I had to see it. And then Josh Lucas is an Arkansan. He's an Arkansas guy. He's in American Psycho. American Psycho is one of the best comedies ever written. C Unit. Like if you just comedic therapy. If you need,
it's a weird comedy.
Sounds like a thriller.
William Dafoe. Sometimes you're like, man, where was he from?
Would you like to make that movie the assignment for our esteemed Padawan who's sitting there next to you?
I have to go return some videotapes.
What are you cheering about there? See Psycho?
American Psycho.
Oh, if you've never seen that, absolutely.
Okay.
That's the homework.
I thought I was going to assign him Batman by Tim Burton, but it's pretty far away from that.
It's summertime rules, so we can do it next. We save it for next week. Yeah.
I don't care either one.
But you need something.
I'm just here
to
to
watch.
learn.
You just need something to get your mind off being down 2-0 in the NBA Finals. So I feel like you're probably going to want to watch this movie tonight.
I might.
Turning into summer school on a daily basis for you, C Maverick.
It's gonna be a long year.
Not really blonde, more dirty blonde, but you'll do.
You owe Matt Jones $5 for using his line. Did you approve that line, Matt? That's your line.
I just gleaned from everybody I know. It's all out there for the open.
C Maverick, anybody tell you this morning when you woke up and got into work that you look really pretty? How do you pull that off?
No, man.
Now, that's not a lie. I lie when I tell Matt Jones that. You, on the other hand, you're gorgeous.
I don't
You know
care
how I
who
know
wins
that?
the finals now.
You know how I know that you're gorgeous right now? Because I can't see you. I can only see Matt Jones on my FaceTime. Yuck.
You got to see the C haircut, man.
Ow.
He's got it going on.
It just makes me jealous. It makes two guys with no hair jealous.
Yeah,
about
what do you
this
get
kind of
people
stuff.
that are bald for Christmas?
Show me the other
Hair.
place. Never mind. 877-377-6963 calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Hour number 2 is coming up in just a moment.
Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Hey, this is Ty Richardson for my friends at Eastside Liquor. Do you need some seltzers for the lake and pool this summer? Find new High Noon Tequila seltzers and pool packs of vodka seltzers at Eastside Liquor. Are you looking to class up your next party? Try the new Dickel Single Barrel, aged 17 years and available exclusively at Eastside Liquor. Come on by and see Dave and his team at 9390 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. And don't forget about the convenient drive-thru. Take care of all your alcohol needs this summer at Eastside Liquor.
Hello, this is Mike Jackamore at Arvest Bank, inviting you to join us in the fight against hunger during Arvest's 14th annual Million Meals campaign. All the money goes directly to our communities, and there is no amount too small. Even just $1 provides 5 meals to those in need. Now, through the end of the month, you can easily make a monetary contribution at your nearest Arvest branch. You can also donate online at arvest.com/millionmeals. And if you're an Arvest customer, you can go directly to Arvest Go mobile app. Arvest makes no representation that any contribution is tax deductible. Please consult your tax advisor.
The Solid Rock has been locally owned for over 46 years. When was the last time you were there? So much more than a bookstore. They have Christian t-shirts, church supplies, Bible studies, devotionals, home decor, gifts, and of course, a large selection of Bibles. And Bibles are engraved free of charge while you wait. Now, you can get custom laser engraving on select gift items and some Bibles. Located next to Sam's Club on South 74th, the Solid Rock is your source for faith-based books, music, clothing, and more. Don't forget to shop for Father's Day at the Solid Rock.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be into the low to mid 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy. Wednesday, we will return to sunshine. A high in the middle to upper 80s, and another sunny one Thursday. Highs will be closer to 90. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated. A Bud Light countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 79 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios, broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
They were one Razorback.
It's vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's go to the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Hey, we are into hour number 2, halftime, ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, and Christian Johnston, the Sea Maverick, in the production chair. Calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in about 15 minutes or so. SEC's doing new things this year. Now that every SEC football game is on we can call it a family of networks. Now that you're not on CBS any longer, and CBS no longer gets the top pick of SEC football games each weekend, we can kind of start planning a little bit. I didn't realize this was happening today, but it is happening today. And there are, I wouldn't call these kickoff announcement times, not yet, or kickoff time announcements, but pretty close to it. Man, I mean, you're going to know at least in a 2 hour to 1 hour window for most games this year when they kick off on June the 11th. Usually you didn't know until 2 weeks ahead of time. So I'm not sure if it matters all that much to the players in this case, because they're just going to go when kickoff is announced, and they'll be bused there or flown there and everything. But for fans and people that are associated with the broadcasts, now we can kind of start planning a little bit. It's good to know these things ahead of time, Matt. I hate waiting 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah, people that have to plan, and especially the families, all that type of stuff, it's pretty cool. But you're exactly right. The players and the coaches, it doesn't matter. They don't. That's nothing. They're not into it, so to speak.
This is a product of of CBS no longer being a broadcast partner. I mean, just think of what's going on in the Big Ten. And I'm not saying that this is any better. It's got to be a little more difficult because they're dealing with NBC Peacock, I think Amazon, and CBS. So there's some, I don't know if politics are a matter that goes into it or who paid for most, but there is a pecking order on what network gets to choose the games that they want. That's why you didn't have these kickoff windows, I guess. Well, CBS was the main broadcast partner, but now they're not, and it's just ESPN or ABC, which is essentially the same thing. So here's what we know. The Arkansas football team has already emailed this out on their list about 11:30 in the morning. We already know 6:30 kickoff of the UAPB game on ESPNU. We did already find out about an 11 a.m. kickoff at Oklahoma State. That'll be an ABC telecast. And we knew about the 3:15 home opener at Razorback Stadium against Alabama Birmingham on September the 14th. That's on SEC Network. Now, here are the other, again, these are windows. These aren't exact kickoff times yet. And one thing that gets thrown into the mix this year are the flex games. And Arkansas has been flexed a couple of times. These would be games that kick off anywhere from 2:30 to 7 o'clock Central Time. And I think you don't find out as to whether or not you're the 2:30 or the 7 o'clock kick until 6 days before. So there still is a little bit of randomness to it. The game on the road at Auburn is a flex, anywhere from 2:30 to 7 o'clock. The A&M game, that'll be a kickoff between 2:30 or 3:30. The Tennessee game at home is a flex, so that could be a night game. That could be a night game against Tennessee, anywhere from 2:30 to 7. You are guaranteed a night home game this year. LSU, October 19th. Kickoff time window is 5 to 7 o'clock. LSU at night at Razorback Stadium in the middle of October. It's just weird to see middle of October at home against them in a night game. But hey, I'm happy you got a night game at Razorback Stadium this year. That's a good thing. Mississippi State will be an early kickoff, 11 or noon. Ole Miss, 11 or noon. The Texas game is 11 o'clock kickoff, ABC or ESPN. Still a TBA on the Louisiana Tech game, and the Missouri game will be an afternoon kickoff, 2:30 or 3:30. So things that stand out there, Matt, is there's potentially 2 night games in Fayetteville this year. Tennessee, LSU is a night game. Tennessee could be. And a morning kickoff against Texas.
I like that morning kickoff against Texas, like that one against Oklahoma State. Yeah, it's if you're winning, I think that Tennessee game, that could be a night game. That would be big time. They didn't get a lot. We had one last year. Was it a non-conference game at that? I was trying to think. Last year, was it Ole Miss maybe when they came into town? If we had, or was that 2 years ago? We got them at night.
I'll look back on it.
But we haven't had.
Remember all of it. The BYU game was a night game.
Yeah. Oh man.
And Ole Miss was on the road. That was it. Yeah, you only had the one night game last year. You had 2 night games, but they were both out of conference. FIU and BYU. So you may get 2 conference games at night at home this year. Again, I think that Tennessee game, yeah, that'll be dependent upon both teams having solid records after 5 or 6 games in that case. So it's right there on ArkansasRazorbacks.com. The SEC website has everybody else's kickoff window times too. And again, the flex games, which are anywhere between 2:30 and 7 o'clock, you don't find out until 6 days prior to the game. That's when you find out your kickoff time is. All right, so if you want to react to that, 877-377-6963, calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Charlie's here first. Hey, Charlie, good afternoon. What's up?
As you know, Phil, I react to everything that you guys talk about. I even go back
sometimes
to the
all
last
at once.
segment. You're right. Sometimes I go a little too long, but I will say this. You guys were talking about Steve in the last segment, as we know, is, you know, he's got the new haircut, Matt. Is he rocking the
He's looking sharp. It's been less than a week, right?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. I think you should do a poll on because C-Unit has 45 nicknames at this point. I can't keep up with which one we're calling him. Right now it's C Maverick, I guess, because his Mavs are playing. But I don't know. The top 3 for me, I don't know about you guys. It's got to be C-Unit. I really like C Money and C Maestro. That's my top 3, but maybe you guys think different. I mean, shit. Christian, you got a bunch of different nicknames.
He's not allowed to pick his own nickname. Otherwise, he'd be T-Bone.
I've got many different personalities.
Well, it's thanks to Phil and Matt, because they're expanding your music range and all these movies they're forcing you to watch and come back with answers on. I mean, come on,
it's also, it's like, because this show's like one little locker room anyway. It's like you go inside a locker, Matt, at football locker rooms, how many nicknames are thrown out there? Some of them that you really...
Non-repeatable.
Yeah, you don't say those ones.
MJ? Did they call you that? They call you MJ?
Among many things, yeah. It's a sanctuary. You know, when you go into the locker room, man, it's a special place.
Not even allowed to know the nicknames out of those places, Charlie. But it's okay. Our tiny little locker room here, everybody that's listening knows that you're Tuna, because that's how you refer to yourself, Ricky Henderson.
I learned it from. Hey, I got Tuna from you guys, man. I just go with it. But anyways, I will say this: I am so glad that I don't see Alabama on that schedule, Phil. And does that sound like I'm just being a like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I am just so glad I don't see them on there. I'm not saying we're going to go whatever. For whatever reason, they've just been the big, bad, bully bears towards us. We just have, it's like other teams in our league will play well against them, and then we play them, and I'm just glad not to see them. And that's an exciting thing for me. Other fans may think different. I get it. We all want to win, be competitors. And I know Nick's not there anymore, but still, just glad not to see them. I wanted to say one more thing before I get off. Mike said something about Thompson yesterday, Phil, and he did make a good point. About the home run thing, though. Is it the idea when you're trying to get home runs, right? You're trying to, obviously it's an approach thing. Last year I felt like at times they were up and down with that, but they didn't have enough guys last year that were hitting home runs. So when you're in a situation like that, if you get more contact hitters, I guess, or do you just need a mixture? Because obviously he said 4 of the 8 teams or whatever, 7 of the 8 lead the nation in home runs. They're up. So I just want to know what your thoughts were on that. Y'all go.
Well, I thought this year they tried to have a little bit more of a concerted effort to have guys that make contact and put the ball in play and try to do a little action here and there. And then there were a few guys later in the season that did have their share of home runs. I mean, this is the fewest home run total, I think, since the 2016 season. And I think that there are guys who have plenty of power potential that didn't necessarily show it this last year. But with the kind of lineup that I like is a team that can score in multiple ways, like what you see from Kentucky. I think Texas A&M probably has the most balanced offense, at least of the SEC teams, because they get guys that can run the bases. They will take some risks, steal a base, which I think plants a seed in the pitcher's mind, takes his mind off the batter, and they got plenty of guys that can hit it over your head too. So it's not even just a matter of 1 or 2 guys that can hurt you. I think you need about 4 or 5 guys that can hurt you. And the good Arkansas lineups, the good Arkansas offenses have had more than just the middle of the lineup. And this year, I mean, really, sometimes the middle of the lineup was moved up and down. The bottom of the lineup was moved up and down. The top of the lineup's really the only part that stayed consistent. I was a little surprised that there wasn't consistent power throughout the season. There wasn't a ton of speed in terms of the ability to steal a base. They did try to take some extra bases, but I just don't know if there was an identity for this year's Razorback offense. And usually they have an identity of hitting it over your head, but I do think they want to make a concerted effort to be a little bit more balanced offensively. I appreciate your phone call very much, Charlie. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in just a moment. Remember those affected by the storms in northwest Arkansas recently. Crabtree RV Center is here to help you. If your home's been damaged, you need to rent or purchase an RV while your home's is under repairs, reach out to Crabtree RV Service. They can help you and any repairs needed to an existing RV. It's Crabtree RV Center. You can call them at 479-632-0829. Also online, crabtreerv.com. Stay with us. Halftime is back in just a moment.
This is Halftime. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
We talk about programs like they're part of This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online. The game starts here.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
At the back of the grove, all the trees were in bloom. That sweet smell in the air, we were trembling together. We were young, we were scared, yeah. True love, at the back.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All guests join us on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, and with us right now from Pig Trail Nation is Alyssa Orange. Always appreciate talking with you, Alyssa. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Phil. Good to be with you guys. It's been a Tom Petty playlist kind of day, so doing real well.
A Tom Petty kind of playlist day. That's a day that I know Matt Jones would avoid like the plague. What is that? What is
that Last Dance with Mary Jane? That's Tom Petty, right?
Yes.
That is. Yes, that is. Mm-hmm.
So what makes today a Tom Petty kind of a day then? I don't get it.
I was driving up and back from Bentonville and needed something to listen to, and I had been listening to a classic road trip playlist, and the Tom Petty song came on. I was like, you know what? We're gonna shift gears.
That's
so
cool.
I grew up listening to him, and
he's only associated with your
It's a
most
good
hated
vibe.
rival, the Florida Gators. So
Yeah.
sure, why not go in that direction?
I know. Well, here's the deal, right? So my dad and I danced to Wallflowers at my wedding. So he's just been ingrained into my life pre-college. My one of my favorite bands of all time is Sister Hazel, also from Gainesville. But again, I've been a Sister Hazel fan since I was 10, and so that kind of stuff, I let those go.
You don't have to hate somebody because of who they root for, but that's not why Matt Jones avoids Tom Petty. But that's a whole other conversation.
That's okay.
That's fine. Florida State Championship Series in Omaha. What do you think here? Nobody should count out Florida. Man. I'm telling you what, from what they did right now, you can't count them out.
I know, right? Wouldn't that be something? That would be something. Though I don't know if I could take it. Though I also know Florida State swept them during the regular season, during their midweek games, but obviously Florida wasn't the team they were then, nor were they throwing their weekend arms. So that would be something. Courtney is going to leave on Friday to go for this opening weekend of Omaha. She's very excited. Saul and I talked about it. If Florida State makes it to the championship series, then we will go.
Well, they get an interesting bracket there, but they get Tennessee up first, so
right.
I don't know. Tennessee is really scary right now.
Yeah.
I could see them coming out of that bracket. Honestly, the way NC State has played, I could see them coming out of the bracket that's got all three SEC teams. But as I look right now, if I were to pick two teams to make it out into the championship series, I'm looking at A&M and Tennessee.
Wow, I like that. Tennessee is scary right now. I think you're absolutely right. They're hitting a lot of home runs, and for Florida State, if you go back to that second game against UConn and really all season long, that's their MO. They hit home runs. That's how they win games. So I'm really curious, though, we know that Charles Schwab Field is not a home run hitting ballpark, if that changes things at all, or if you're looking at a team like Tennessee who just has almost too much power, or that's not even going to matter. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. I'm a little nervous for FSU, though, because I'd like to see them manufacture some runs.
Yeah, I'd be nervous just because.
Where have we heard that before?
Well, no kidding. Hey, I got to get your opinion on Team USA women's basketball and the whole controversy with Caitlin Clark. And, I think people just want everybody to take a hard opinion about it. And I don't really, to be quite honest, I don't have a hard opinion about this. I don't care if she was on the team or not. But a lot of people seem to, and they say, well, they'd watch it if she was there. I don't know how much she would have played. They won't watch it if she's not there. But obviously she brings eyes to whatever it is she's doing. But I also think that can bring some unwanted attention for some of the other players that are there. And I don't know. I can see both sides of the argument. Where do you come in on this?
Yeah, I was really surprised, to be honest. And I think that if you look at it from a eyeball standpoint, that Caitlin Clark would have just gotten you more attention. Bottom line, during the Olympics, Caitlin Clark is on the roster. Even if she's not playing, you're going to have more people watching. So I was a little surprised by that. I understand what people are saying where, she hasn't played in the league for very long. She hasn't proven anything, and she's not playing that great right now. That is also true, too. And in an article I was reading by ESPN that said, she missed the Team USA training camp that she was invited to because Iowa was playing in the Final Four. Well, you can't penalize her for wanting to continue to play with her college team. That's what she's doing. And for those who are like, well, she hasn't proved that much in the league. Yeah, but look what she's done in college. So I don't know. I would have liked to see her on the team, quite honestly. Am I really been out of shape about it? No. But I think from a attention standpoint, you were just going to get more eyeballs with Caitlin Clark on the team than without.
Yeah, she's so talented. I'd like to have seen her, and she's handled it well as well. No question about it. She'll be fine. Hey, Alyssa, have you been keeping up with Boston and Dallas, and kind of get your thoughts? You think Dallas has a chance? I mean, Game 3, is important. It's the most important game when you're down 0-2. What are your chances you give Dallas to kind of make this a series? Charles Barkley, I was watching the hockey game yesterday, and he got up there, and then the first thing Charles Barkley says was, "This is it." He thinks it's going to be a sweep. He thinks that Boston's going to go to Dallas and win 2 in a row. What do you think, Alyssa?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I was all Dallas heading into this. I would love for the Mavericks to win another ring. Pro Daniel Gafford, all of those things. And I'm not feeling too hot anymore. Boston's just playing really, really well. But it's hard to get that kind of momentum back. We've seen it happen. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I bet Boston wins it in 5.
Well, I'm not quite sure if I can see Dallas. I can see them winning a game, but if they don't win the next one, it's done.
Don't you think it's more up to how Boston shows up? If Boston shows up ready to play, then there's nothing Dallas can do.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive to watch them right now, and it's unfortunate because you love these games, these series to be competitive and not one-sided, but that is sport.
Did you see the announcement about the time windows? Is it nice to get time windows? But then we also get, for football, I mean, you get, in some cases, six days to, figure out whether you're playing anywhere between 2:30 and 7. I mean, I don't mind that too much because of 4.5 hour window is really not all that big of a deal. It's a product of not having CBS as a broadcast partner, and I mean, it's a good thing, I think, to at least have a really good sense of what time you're. This is what the NFL does. The NFL does this.
Right.
Although they have their kickoff time set, 10 months ahead of time or 8 months ahead of time.
Right. Yeah. No, I like it. I like it for the fans. I'm sure that's going to be a lot easier with planning purposes. But from my planning purposes, when we're traveling to games and I'm figuring out game times and travel itineraries, and look, 11 o'clock kickoff for me and for you guys too, Phil, when you guys are doing broadcasts and such, is a lot different than doing a game day show in the morning and having to wait all day until a 6 o'clock kickoff at night. So for me, I like it because I like to be able to know what I'm getting into, what my weekend and what my months are going to be like, and not having to wait 2 weeks out every week to figure out when kickoff is going to be. So these windows are nice for planning purposes, but also, at the end of the day, you can schedule them already, right? Like you said, the NFL does it already. Just schedule them. Stop with all this secret, figuring it out and keeping people on the edge of their seat, figuring out what time kickoff is. Just put it set in stone. At this point, there's college football sun up to sundown, so it doesn't really matter when you play.
Alyssa, TB2, Trevion Brazil coming back to be a Razorback under Coach Cal. What are your thoughts on that? You think that's a good fit?
I do. Man, I tell you what, he is someone, if you sat down and talked with him, it's hard not to root for him. He's a good kid who's got a good head on his shoulders, who's been through a lot with injury, and I know that takes sometimes a bigger mental toll on athletes than other athletes. And I think for Trevin, he just needs a season to be healthy. And he needs the season to truly be the Trevin Brazil that he was supposed to be out of high school. And a lot of the draft boards have him being. And if he can do that, I just want to see the kid have success. I would have loved to see the kid have success elsewhere if he chose that was where he wants to go. But the fact that he's coming back to Arkansas says two things. That he believes this is a staff, this is the place in the program that can help him get better, and this is also an opportunity for him to prove to Arkansas what he hasn't been able to do the last 2 years. Because we've seen it in other sports, that after a couple of injuries, it's not really the university's fault per se, the team's fault per se, but there are athletes who are like, I just need a new start, a refresh. The injuries, sometimes mentally, I just need a new place. I think we saw that with Jalen Catalon, right? He just needed to go somewhere else after the injuries he had at Arkansas. And so for Trevin to stay here shows a lot of commitment and trust into the basketball program and him believing that that's the best place for him to have the best basketball career in college he could have.
It would seem to me in this next athletics calendar, Alyssa, just looking at a lot of the teams that we covered took a step back this year in terms of the postseason success or not making the postseason, all of them. if you look at football, men's, women's basketball, baseball, you can throw softball into. Which of the programs do you think has the best opportunity to take a step forward next year? Not just staying where they are, a little step forward. I mean, kind of a big step forward.
Yeah, if you want to talk about like the biggest step forward, I got to look at the men's basketball team just because of all of the talent that's come in with the kind of caliber of coaching that we know that John Calipari and that Kenny Payne have. That's a team that could be a Final Four team next year after not even making the tournament and completely rebuilding a roster. I think the start to finish is much bigger for that men's basketball team than any other team. But to be quite honest with you, Phil, you didn't mention it, but this is a soccer program under Colby Hale that we've been waiting a long time to have success in the postseason, like Final Four, go to Cary, North Carolina kind of success. I think Colby Hale's got a chance, and this soccer program has a chance to win a national title or to compete for a national title. So I know that that's not a sport that you said, but, man, they've kind of been right there where they've been good and dominant for so long during the regular season, and they fumble into the postseason. So I'd really like soccer to take a step forward.
They're the first of the teams to get going. I think soccer is the first of the sports to actually start. That would work great. I'd love that. It'd be a great bookend. Yeah. Soccer wins the Natty to start the athletics calendar. Baseball wraps it up. I like where you're going there, Alyssa.
That would be nice.
I'll write it in
I
pencil
think it's
in my notebook.
Phil. There we go.
Right.
It's possible.
Alyssa, have a great
Hey, and a shout out. I know.
Go ahead. No,
shout
go
out
ahead.
to the women's track team too. I was just going to say. I mean, I don't know how much you guys have talked about what they did, and the 4x400 team with the women setting collegiate record, and Nikisha Price setting a 400-meter outdoor record. Like, that was phenomenal. So, shout out to Chris Johnson winning an indoor and outdoor title in his first year after taking over when Lance Harder retired.
Are any of those ladies going to Paris with you?
Well, so Amber Anning is English, so I'm pretty sure she will qualify for the England team.
Cool.
Nikisha Price is Jamaican, so she's got a good chance of making the Jamaican team. Then Rosie Effiong and Kaylin Brown are Americans, and they'll compete in the trials here in a couple weeks.
Well, we're looking forward to talking to you about all of that, much more as we get closer to the Paris Olympics. Alyssa, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on, as always.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Pig Trail Nation's Alyssa Orange with us each Tuesday on Halftime. We can open up the McClarty Daniel hotline right now, 877-377-6963. Stay with us.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
At Arvest Bank, we believe in the power of community. That's why we recognize, serve, and support communities of all kinds. From small towns to big cities, business startups to large companies, young families to seniors, and those with shared backgrounds and interests. We value your contributions and are proud to work alongside you because every community deserves a financial partner who cares. Arvest Bank. We believe.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
This is Halftime.
Summer is finally here. Come check out Kofer's Boat Center's huge selection of boats with the best incentives in years. Kofer's experienced professionals will answer all your boating questions, and their award-winning customer service with Mercury, Malibu, Lowe, Caymas, and Garmin will keep your boat in peak condition. Kofer's also has a fully stocked pro shop and updated RV and boat storage facilities. Find Kofer's online at Kofers.com. That's Kophers.com. Kofer's Boat Center, your authorized Mercury dealer, helping their customers create a lifetime of memories for over 50 years.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
When it's time for breakfast, Calico County is making it all from scratch. Yet the dedicated early morning crew at Calico are cooking up and serving buttermilk pancakes, moist biscuits, rich waffles, country fried potatoes, 3 types of gravy, and of course their famous cinnamon rolls and much more. They serve all of this and a lot more 7 days a week until 11 a.m. Stop in, call ahead, or get it to go. Or just come by and pick up a dozen cinnamon rolls for the office. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, roll on into Calico County. They're home cooking good. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine. On North 11th Street is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle. Also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle. 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith. 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Do you need help with your next project? Metters Lumber True Value is here to help. A family-owned business since 1936, the staff has more than 90 years of experience in construction and the hardware business. If they don't have what you need, they know how to get it, and they are more than happy to accommodate your special order. So whether it's building a new deck, a paint project around the house, or needing a new set of tools, Metters Lumber True Value has everything you need. With locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville, and you can shop online at metterslumber.com. Metters Lumber True Value.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
When it came to pass, glory passed me by. Fate with a single blow, his custard pie me now. True, I had my chance. True, I had those wide shots for you. And my mountains. Will not move
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
You know one thing that's really nice today, Matt? I have air conditioning. There's cool air in the house, but you know what it's done after a week of me dealing with temps that got in about 83, 84 degrees in the house, in the home studio? I can actually keep the air conditioning. I can keep the temperature more like 75. I've usually been like 71, 72. I'm kicking it up to 75 today, and it feels nice.
What is there like the health journals? What do they say that you're supposed to keep your house at? You know, isn't it supposed to be, you keep it pretty cool, like it's supposed to be healthier for you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you need to do to keep mold from forming, if that has anything to do with it, I'm not sure. But then again, I mean, there's some mugs in my daughter's bedroom right now that are certainly collecting some mold. I don't know if she planned it that way, but that's what happens when you leave.
The
for about a
cleanup
week.
fairy is supposed to that's room's supposed to be clean when she gets back.
I
Phil.
forgot to put my tutu and wings on, Matt.
Yeah.
There's the whole problem. I didn't get to that. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline. I'll go get the wings and the tutu after the show. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for calling. What's going on?
Hey, good afternoon, Phil and Matt. How are you guys?
Great, thank you.
Good. Yeah, Phil, did you watch the NC State game last night?
I did, yeah.
Did you hear that stat they were talking about with Tennessee, how this year, and this blew my mind, this year they hit over 170 home runs, but in 2013, did you hear how many they hit that year?
Now, this was before the seams on the balls were lowered. So, no, go. I don't remember the stat from this.
They hit 13 home runs in 2013 per the broadcast guys last night. That was just absolutely insane to me hearing that stat, just to see how much a decade has changed the game. But I just want to throw that out there real quick. But I do have a question for you, Phil. I've been reading some articles how I think, Kentucky baseball, I think, currently has the number one portal recruiting class. I think Tennessee and A&M were currently in the top 5, if my memory serves me correctly. I know we have that one transfer guy, Aloy, coming in, but I was just curious if you know of any maybe rumors. I know Logan Maxwell is supposed to have a visit tomorrow, I believe, but do you know of any rumors of us potentially, talking to some other guys, or maybe some names that maybe you could throw out there if you know any of potential guys that we could be getting?
I mean, at the moment, I'm not in on any of the rumors or anything. Quite honestly, I don't get interested in the rumors too much because it turns into a lot of wasted time. This team needs everything right now. They need a little bit of everything, and so I think what that means is they need guys who can hit the ball over the fence. They need guys who can run. They need guys who can make contact. They need an entire outfield. They need a second baseman. They need a first baseman. They don't need a catcher, but they probably have to have somebody to come in and challenge Helfrich and back up. I mean, if there's questions about who's coming in, who are they looking at, I really don't know which direction you're going because there's over 4,000 players in the portal. I also know none of them are from Arkansas. LSU's lost 8 or 9 players. I think plenty of them have been asked to leave. Nobody's left Arkansas. I looked at Maxwell's numbers, and I mean, I remember him from TCU from the regional a couple of years ago. He looks like a decent college outfielder. Hit 300 or something. Not much power, a little bit of speed. Nothing that necessarily stood out. Kahio Aloy to me seems like the kind of player that he could be the same kind of hitter that his brother is, his older brother is. But yeah, I mean, you can go down the rabbit holes with the rumors and who you need and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not a recruiting analyst, and I just think sometimes it can be some time that is better spent on other things. But I do think, Jeremy, this team needs some of everything. They're going to need, where they're probably the strongest, is starting pitching coming back next year. They're still going to have to go out and recruit a starter or two. Bullpen's going to be good. They still need to go out and get relief arms. And as far as hitters and position players are concerned, the question that has been asked to me is, what do they need? And the answer that I give is yes, they need a little bit of everything. And in some cases, maybe a lot of everything.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you, Phil. I appreciate your time, sir. Have a good day.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thank you. And again, I don't know how to answer sometimes on it, like the rumors and this and that about who's visiting and who's going to, who are they looking at. I mean, I don't bother the coaches with this kind of stuff. I'm letting them out. They got plenty to worry about. I got plenty to worry about too. And Matt, sometimes I try to come from the same perspective as you. It's like, I'm interested in who it is that they sign and who it is that they get to commit, and then looking at, maybe what they did where they were previously, and then see how it works out here. But as far as chasing, look, I love what the recruiting analysts do, but that's a full-time job, being a recruiting analyst on any of these sports. That's what makes what RD does, what Davenport does with the Democrat Gazette. I mean, he's talking about football, basketball, baseball all at the same time. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I can't do that. There's over 4,000 players in the portal for baseball.
Yeah, let me know when they sign up. That's for sure. The one kid we know that's coming in was a freshman. I like the fact I like getting kids. I know we got a kid from Texas Tech last year that was on the all freshman team. I like getting kids. That's what I'd be doing. Looking at the Big 12, looking at the Pac-12, looking at South Carolina, teams that change coaches. If there's an all freshman player, man, that's a guy that he's probably going to make another jump too, like Chuck said. And that first to second year, you see the biggest jumps.
Shane asks, where can Souza play in the field so he's an everyday player? I think he could play almost anywhere. It's just, I just haven't seen him play the outfield before. I only saw him play some third base and some second base. The kid's he's got everything. I mean, he's a 5-tool player. I'm not exactly, I think he could play center field. Yes, he is that fast. He has that kind of arm. I think he could play second base or third base. But they need an entire outfield right now. And they brought in an infielder in Vehiva's brother, Cujillo. I think he's more of a corner infielder. It's my guess. And I think with Souza, getting him into the lineup, him and Helfrich, like you talk about, you want guys that are returning, Matt, and that's big. That's Vehiva Aloy. He transferred to Arkansas after 1 year at Sac State, so you get a chance to see how he improves from 1 year to the next. Souza and Helfrich, now, I mean, Nolan had some big moments this year. Helfrich had a few moments here and there. He had under 180, but I think there's a lot to work with. These are guys that could really take big jumps as sophomores, and I hope that they do. Souza's got the kind of capability, I think, where he could be a real star at this level and at higher levels too. But it doesn't always work out that way, right?
Well, you're a little more comfortable. I can attest to it a little bit, Phil. I felt more comfortable after bowl practice my freshman year going into your, it's like you kind of have a time to get away from it for a second and then settle down. And then that next year, you know what to expect. So I expect those players to make a little bit of a jump. Absolutely.
I guess we're just sort of expecting to hear a lot of news about this player or that player committing to Arkansas. I mean, you see Georgia, Florida, even teams that were playing in the Super Regional last weekend or are making their plans for Omaha are getting commits, more than one in some cases. And you've only heard about Cujillo Aloy for Arkansas, but I think there's going to be a lot more coming down because more than anything, it's not a matter of, well, you got to like replace this guy because he didn't produce and you need a better guy at shortstop and all of that. No, it's just a matter of all these guys are getting drafted or they're out of eligibility. Like your entire infield outside of shortstop and your entire outfield, literally your entire outfield, unless Diggs comes back, unless he's not drafted or doesn't sign. And I did learn also Will McIntyre's got a year of eligibility. He's got the COVID year. So there could potentially be McIntyre coming back for another season. But, for him, I don't think he's going to get drafted. It's just a matter, do you want to start your pro career now or do you want to wait another year? By that point, I think he'd be 24 years old. So you got to make that decision, I would imagine, sometime soon as well. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Halftime, we'll be back to wrap up hour number 2 right after this.
This is Halftime.
Barrels and Brews Bottle Shop at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing has everything you need for your favorite activities. Our knowledgeable staff will be glad to help you with the current specials and our new arrivals of must-have bourbons and whiskeys. Hit the cooler for some of the coldest beer in town or choose from our large selection of amazing wines. Order online or call ahead Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing. Barrels and Brews, voted best of the best in Fort Smith. It will put a smile on your face.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Looking for a new piece of heavy equipment? Come on over to Sharp Equipment today and explore our latest offers and deals as a Wacker Newson dealer and a Cinnabogan authorized service provider. From excavators with the best-in-class breakout force to powerful skid steers, we'll be sure to find the right equipment for you. Stop in Central Hydraulics and see us at Sharp Equipment, located at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or give us a call at 479-242-1406.
Dozy Place has now been serving award-winning steaks for over 20 years. Celebrate your special birthday, holiday, person, or just because at Dozy Place. Start with delicious appetizers and your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Dozy Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended, so call 784-9111. 784-9111 for Dozy Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Hello, this is Mike Giacomo at Arvest Bank, inviting you to join us in the fight against hunger during Arvest's 14th annual Million Meals campaign. All the money goes directly to our communities, and there is no amount too small. Even just $1 provides 5 meals to those in need. Now, through the end of the month, you can easily make a monetary contribution at your nearest Arvest branch. You can also donate online at arvest.com/millionmeals. And if you're an Arvest customer, you can go directly to Arvest Go mobile app. Arvest makes no representation that any contribution is tax deductible. Please consult your tax advisor.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Sweet Jesus, don't talk over the line. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one talk over the line. Waiting for the train that goes home, sweet Mary, woman, and the train is on time. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one talk over the line.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Okay, we see that USA Basketball, pardon me, says major reason Caitlin Clark was not on the U.S. Olympic team is experience. That came from Jennifer Rosati, told the Associated Press this morning in an interview. This coming from a story just from the Associated Press. Committee is aware of outside noise and pressure to select Clark. And she says the criteria we were given as a committee and how we evaluate our players, the experience is supposed to be an aspect of it. I remember reading that about the criteria, and it looks to me like that's the first thing they're looking at. I still think that they're trying to not create this to be the Caitlin Clark Olympic team in a lot of people's eyes. But it already is in that case now, because that's the conversation about it. Not the players on, but the players who are off.
There's one girl that's on the team that hasn't played yet.
It's Gray, right? Chelsea Gray?
Yeah, so that's where you could see an alternate maybe. 26 is the youngest girl, youngest lady on the U.S. women's team. So it's up, man. It's up to them. If they would have put her on, she's talented enough to play on the team, no question about it. And if they don't put her on, they're going to win their 8th straight gold medal. It's just up if they wanted to get her some experience. If they thought, hey, we're going to bring the college kid. It's not like she was a pedestrian in college. She's the all-time leading scorer in the college game. The girl can play. So it's, for whatever reason, I just think there's politics. We might not ever know. I get what they're feeding us, but they're just making stuff up. They're just trying to validate or say, hey, this is this, but it's all good. She'll be on the next one. I don't know.
Well, and at that point,
it's a jealousy thing.
At that point, it's more her team. Like she'd be the outsider in this case. Brand new to the league, the only rookie that's on the team, and it's still independent of the way that some of the players might view her. Is she would still be the outsider here in 4 years, and who knows what happens in the next 4 years for Caitlin Clark with the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. But I'm assuming sometime in the next 4 years, I would just think maybe a scoring title, maybe get her team to the playoffs, maybe get to the WNBA finals.
She's the 7th ranked fantasy player in women's basketball right now. So she's putting up numbers. You got to remember, she doesn't play on a good team. You put her around better girls, she's going to be better. She's so talented. You put her around athletes that are better. Her game can. She's the best player on her team. She's a rookie. They're not very good. She's got to get stronger. That's a one thing when you watch her. She's still her passes don't have that umph on it yet, but it's just the weird aspect. Baby still.
The weird aspect of this is that in so many people's eyes is that this is already her league, and she's been in it for a month, right? So in 4 years, it will be her league. If you just look at the natural progression, what you expect, what she becomes. Everybody will point to MJ, and the NBA wasn't MJ's league in 4 years, but not that far after that. It'll be her league. It'll be her team by then. And it won't be about experience, and it won't be about, well, everyone else is jealous of her. They might be at that point, but in a different way.
It'd be interesting, too, to see if the free agents that go play with her in Indiana, that'd be the other thing. Can she attract a couple free agents? Because you get her a couple pieces, Indiana's going to be tough, or does she have to leave and go to a Las Vegas, a New York, or an L.A.?
I saw where the U.S. Olympic mountain biking team is being announced today, too, in Bentonville. I don't know anything about professional mountain biking or anything like that, but as you think there could be any kind of controversy since this is a little bit local here? Yeah, we'll have our mountain. We have an Olympic mountain biking team now. I don't know if that's a new sport or not, but hey, Northwest Arkansas is the center of mountain biking in the United States, so it makes sense to have the team selected there too. I don't know who's announced on it, but I still know I got to watch the breakdancing competition when it comes down to the Olympics. If I'm not watching ballroom dancing and breakdancing, what am I really doing?
Dance Dance Revolution, new high score. What's that mean? Did I break the game? Is that
you
bad?
ever seen people do Dance Dance Revolution that know how to play that thing? It's incredible.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Where's their NIL deal?
Yeah, no kidding. That's got to be one of the esports. There's got to be an esport competition as Dance Dance Revolution.
You ever done that at the Dave & Buster's? You're going to be in shape.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I went on a 2-mile run yesterday, and I can't do Dance Dance Revolution. I'm not even going to try. Fall over on my face, just like I do every day on this radio program. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. We'll be back right after this for hour number 3.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window. So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10. 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, and we need your trade. This month, the trade-in acquisition event continues with up to 27% bonus cash on your trade on any one of our road-ready certified used cars with warranty. You can't buy a better used car, and you can't pick a better time than right now. Up to 27% bonus cash for your trade. Another reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
USA Fireworks is a leading firework wholesaler in Arkansas with over 35 years of experience. Located in Mulberry, right off 64. They offer an impressive selection of top-of-the-line products from the best brands like World Class, Brothers, Winda, Raccoon, Cutting Edge, and Black Cat, ensuring a spectacular display for every occasion. Whether it's a big city event or just a family gathering, USA Fireworks is dedicated to delivering the best show at the best value. If you're interested in buying a wholesale fireworks show, visit our website, usafireworks.org.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Dallas Street Dental. Refuse to compromise when it comes to replacing missing teeth. Dr. Bill Ligon at Dallas Street Dental can make your smile look, feel, and function almost exactly the way it did before you lost any teeth. In some cases, even better. Dental implants function like your natural teeth and make it possible for you to enjoy those juicy steaks this grilling season. Look younger and smile with confidence with dental implants from Dallas Street Dental. Schedule your free implant consultation today at 479-452-6600.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be into the low to mid 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, overnight low near 60. Wednesday, we will return to sunshine, a high in the middle to upper 80s, and another sunny one Thursday. Highs will be closer to 90. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grant Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 79 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you. Smith, I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Matt Jones, man, take it to the house. The dunk.
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Even one Razorback.
It's vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
And into our third hour, halftime on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com, 1 minute after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Phil Elson, along with Matt Jones, still looking pretty. C-Unit in the producer's chair. Haircut still looking good. And we'll have Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio in about 60 minutes. We had our kickoff window times announced earlier today for not just Arkansas football, but the remainder of the SEC. So we can get into the football team a little bit here as we are, I don't know how many days it is until kickoff, 74,
I heard 79 on an intro outro, so I don't know if we're right up to date or not, but 79, there you go.
It's coming up, man. It's coming up.
Who's Lando Pace? Is that 70? Is he 79?
I was going to say we're in the offensive line numeral window here at 79. I was just, let's say 1979. That was a good year.
Yeah, the Smashing Pumpkins.
That was a really good song. which came out in 93, I think is when that song came out. I like 1979. I was 2. Pittsburgh was the city of champions. I can go with that. We'll just go with the year there for 1979. Works for me. We want to get into the wide receivers on the Arkansas roster a little bit here and just what you're expecting from a group that I counted 19 wide receivers currently on the roster. I know those are the walk-ons, the preferred walk-ons, and the scholarships. Looking at 3, 6, 8, 11, 14, I think that potentially get a good amount of playing time. We'll just based on the idea of who's recruited hard and where the scholarships are dissected out. And, somebody asked yesterday, Matt, about, you think about Taylon Green and how he'll fit into the Bobby Petrino offense. So much of it, too, is getting those wide receivers some open space and expecting that Taylon can drop it in at the right spot and then allow them to use their speed. It looks to me like I think you got a pretty fast group. Guys that have produced for you, and Andrew Armstrong. I'm interested about this Khafre Brown, who's coming in from South Florida. And Tyrone Broden gets his last year as well, and he showed some signs every once in a while last year. He had some experience, I think the freshman coming in, but there's also the thought that a couple of guys who are really, really speedy but had limited playing time where they were, Jordan Anthony at A&M, Isaiah Satania at Arkansas, could have big impacts too.
It's going to be interesting, Phil. I think our receivers are going to take a step up. I think we're going to have to use them a little bit different. Tesla's a guy that he's going to be able to adjust a little bit better, I think, to the pace if you move him inside and have him matched up there. I like Jaden Wilson and Satania, Phil, with their speed. And then I think Armstrong is a guy that you're learning a new offense again. You got a new coordinator coming in. How many things are option routes? And as a receiver, a lot of times a play is called, Phil, and based on what the coverage is based on what routes you're going to run, if it's man or if it's zone. So are these receivers still thinking when they're learning a new offense? So hopefully they can get through that this summer where they're not out there thinking as much and they're out there just reacting and playing. And I think Armstrong, Phil, is that guy that could be your ex-receiver. He could be that guy that anytime it's man coverage on him, you have the option to throw to him. I don't know how they do the, how I haven't been in the offensive meetings, but a lot of times you have that safety net as a quarterback, as a receiver, whatever level. You always have that option. If that's your A player out there, you got a man coverage, man route, you set the protection and you throw it to him. You got to be able to pitch and catch it a little bit, especially when it's man coverage, but you got to be able to run the ball to get a little more man coverage as well.
That was one of the questions I wondered about this, and I don't know. Do you see this as an offense that would be pass to run or run to pass?
Well, it doesn't matter which one you're going to have to be. You're going to have to run the ball and be physical at times. It doesn't matter if you're 60-40 one way. The thing, you have to be able to run the ball and you have to be able to pass the ball when they know it's coming. That's something we couldn't do last year. We couldn't do at either one of those things. We couldn't do. And then it comes to the quarterback knowing the offense, feeling comfortable in the offense, because a lot of times there is 2 plays called, and so one of these plays is right. One of the plays is better than the other. So it's about feeling comfortable, being confident, putting people in the right spots, and putting us in the right play to have success. And I think that's one thing, having the headset and having Petrino in, that I think the offense is going to look better next year.
Well, what about the idea, too, of a different idea of what you're doing with the middle of the field? And so often we wondered, why are receivers having trouble getting open last year? And I would ask this to you as a layperson in this case. They were confined to one side. Nobody was going over the middle very much. And I think like the middle with your tight ends, and we're only talking wide receivers here, but your tight ends, didn't it feel like you were just basically confined to 1/3 of the field. Nobody was going over the middle ever very much. And that's just, I know they were probably doing that, giving KJ the option to run. I think Green's a runner too, but I would expect there's a little more production over the middle with receivers specifically, and certainly tight ends too.
One thing Petrino is a G with, that he really is a wizard with, is the crossing routes. Knowing how to run the rub routes, knowing how to hit them in the seams, knowing when the right time is. Then you get really good by throwing it outside the numbers. That's kind of the next progression. Yes, you have to be able to throw your crosser routes if it's your slants, your inside breaking routes. We did not do that very well last year at all, and I think that's one of the things. If you were to just start labeling or listing things that Coach Petrino's attributes and his qualities, that's one of them right there. That he checks that box right there.
Is that where you see Satania being potentially someone who could really be dangerous? I would guess a Jordan Anthony too, sprinter type speed coming over the middle. Is that too dangerous?
You have to give an appearance that you can run by them. That's what I mean. These cornerbacks, these D-backs, you can't. You're taught the first rule is you can't let somebody behind you. I mean, now you take it up if you're whatever your coverage is, but there has to be a guy back there. And a lot of times there has to be two. We didn't have a lot of speed last year or we didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It wasn't necessarily we don't have the speed. It's like you're really not utilizing it too much.
They didn't fear us. That's right. So you have to see. I think you have to have a couple guys. If you're playing in the SEC and you don't have at least three dudes that touch the ball that are sub 4.4, then I'm sorry, you're in the wrong conference. So if we don't have some receivers that can't get past them or can't pull the top off the coverage, then we're going against a loaded deck. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. You gotta have speed if you're in the SEC. If you want any type of chance to win in the SEC.
I would think there's more for Tyrone Broden, and I understand it was the MAC. Only 15 catches last year, a bunch of drops. It felt like there's more there.
I think he was adjusting a little bit, right? He never felt comfortable. And
Tesla too. I don't know if Tesla ever really looked, because he really just wasn't open very much. That's a guy that is not the fastest. He's supposed to be able to catch in coverage, and again, coming up from Division II, that is a major, major change. Guess you'd expect more than 34 catches and 352 yards and a couple of touchdowns from Tesla this next year.
I like Tesla. I do. He catches everything. He's tough. He's smart. You just move him inside. He's not an outside the numbers guy. I mean, he's a red zone guy. He's a third down guy. He's a short yard. I mean, he's an every down player. I'm not saying that. It's just you got to see where his strengths are, and it's because he goes out and catches the ball with his hands. He's strong with the ball. But the separation would be one of the things that he's not the best at, and that's okay. So we go back and we find what can you do well, and that's some of the things. You match him up on a safety or a linebacker, then you're not worried about that. It's about putting him outside the numbers. So that's one thing that I think he's a guy that you can move around and almost use him as kind of like an extra big body tight end.
I was going to say, like, he's 6'4", 216. It's too bad there's not another 30 pounds you can put on him and see what you can do at the tight end position. But yeah, he'll be stuck at receiver in that case. Interested in Coffrey Brown? He's the transfer coming in from South Florida. Just 27 catches, 5 touchdowns last year. And
those are good numbers.
Those are good numbers too.
Yeah.
But also, Monty Harrison just feels like an X factor, just because the guy hasn't played football in over 10 years, but he played at the highest level of baseball and did things there that I think pay off in terms of athleticism of what you have to do as a wide receiver. I mean, home run saving catches at the fence, you can do that. You can battle a defensive back for a jump ball. You guy that steals 84% success rate stealing bases, to me that means he's going to get off the line of scrimmage really, really quickly, and he's a grown man. I mean, to me, he feels like somebody, and I don't know, I've not watched him play football. I don't think any of us have. But that's one of the more interesting stories going into camp more than anything. It's just camp first.
No, Phil, you said it, a grown man. He's 28 years old, and you're asking him to play against 18-year-old kids that were just at their prom the year before, 19, 20. He should be able to be more physical. He should be able to know how to study film, and he's older. So he's done some of that. He knows how to take care of his body. I think you're going to find out real early with him. I don't think it's going to be a deal where week 7 you're like, oh yeah, I think he's going to make a splash early, and you're either gonna see him or you're not. I don't think it's gonna be and I'm pulling for the kid. You know, I hope that he catches on and he's doing his thing. But you remember how the difference from 18 to 28, like that age gap. That's just how much. The more mature you are, how stronger you are. I think he's gonna make a jump early, or he'll just be another dude.
The thing that I remember changing in those 10 years was the ability to construct routines that made sense to you for the goal, for what you were trying to achieve. Just routines. And I know, athletes even at 18 years old develop those routines, but it's different when you come into college. A lot different when you come into college. This is a guy that's been through the rigors of Major League spring training, 7-month seasons when you count spring training, and I'm fascinated by what his potential seems like it could be. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio coming up in just a moment. Hey, USA Fireworks wants to make sure that your family has the best July 4th experience. They help Arkansans enjoy the holiday year after year and been doing it for more than 30 years. They can help with school fundraisers, adoption funding, city functions, and much more. We're giving away a $2,000 retail fireworks show right now thanks to USA Fireworks. Your kids, grandkids, and cul-de-sac are never going to be happier. Chris Brewer's got the best selection at USA Fireworks. Just go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks, and you can enter for your chance to win a $2,000 retail fireworks show. USAfireworks.org, where you can find out how they can help you. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio coming on Halftime right after this.
This is Halftime.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pat Strait from Woodland. Read about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
You look so sweet and you're so doggone fine. Just can't get you out of my mind. You become sweet taste in my mouth now. I want you to be my spouse so that we can live happily now. In a great big old roomy house, and I know you're gonna groove.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Headed right to the McClarty Daniel Hotline, where Bill King joins us from Nashville Sports Radio, hosting Monday through Friday from 6 until 9. WNSR, the king of college football talk and the prince of college baseball talk, too. Hey, Bill, how you doing today?
Hey, guys. Doing good.
Good, man. I was listening to you yesterday. A lot of college baseball talk on the Bill King program. Got your College World Series field set. Do you have a favorite here? Do you have a rooting interest at all, or do you look at it that way?
Probably Tony Vitello. I think he's arguably the face of college football right now. College baseball, sorry, guys. So used to football. I struggle with the word baseball, but I do think, we were talking about it, the media always tries to sell you in college football that anything can happen and anybody can win it, and that's a huge lie. Matter of fact, most years in the playoffs in college football, all 4 teams can't win it. Just because they're in there doesn't mean you're capable of winning it. And I've had years during the BCS where you had 2 teams, and I knew that one team could win it. I really think you can make a case that anybody of these 8 could win it. Now, you could favor Tennessee's favored, A&M's next, Kentucky's up high, but Florida State could win it. Their pitching is thin. It'll be interesting, but I think Tennessee and Tennessee probably won't win it because the 1 seed typically doesn't, and they're likely going to face Jamie Arnold, who is Florida's one ace, who is a top 10 type pick next year. He's just a sophomore, and that's going to be tough for them.
I think it's interesting how you would mention that you think Tony is like the face of college baseball, and I think to a degree you might be right about that. Even though he's not won a national title, but the guy is a great coach, and I think part of it too, Bill, isn't necessarily how his team plays or the success that they have. The success goes along with it because then people want to hear what he has to say. But he speaks in such an honest, forthright, earnest way to the media. And that also sometimes goes against the persona that people feel about him because they see him literally like almost going nuts during baseball games. I remember moments where he was the third base coach at Arkansas, and I thought, how did he not just get thrown out of the baseball game? But that's not what he's like off the field. That's the thing he is so great to talk to and so great to listen to his answers because he's thoughtful.
Did you guys hear, it was about a 6.5-minute rant after the Evansville Game 3. somebody had asked him, I think it was an Evansville reporter the night before, if you guys lose this series, is this just completely ruin the season? And I guess he held it in until after Game 3. So he started in, he basically said, I'm about to go on a rant, and if you guys need to pull the mic, I understand. But here I go. About 45 seconds in, he says, and let me also say this. If you're visiting Tennessee from the portal or you're getting recruited by Tennessee and you come up here on a visit and all you want to do is stick your hand out, say be the time. Don't waste your time. Don't come up here. At that very moment, they had a Miami kid, that Blake Sear kid, that All-American kid on campus. And the next morning, he commits to Florida. So, I mean, he's all over the place. It's funny.
That is funny. There was another thing he said that I think stands out. And I've heard other coaches say something like this before. And you know, it was a rant, but it was also, I think, trying to just give his mindset about when you're looking from the outside in and you use the idea of a successful season can only be one that includes a trip to the College World Series or a national championship. And if not, well, then it's a miserable season and it's not worth celebrating and you had a failure of a season. And I think that the way that the question was asked the day before was insulting to the player. And I think he was answering because he felt the same way. But he said, I want to work with people who take joy in what they do. They show up ready to go, happy to be there, not faking it, and take joy in what they do. Now, I'm around people at Arkansas baseball and women's basketball that are exactly like that. And I'll tell you what, people might have opinions about Tony because of the way he acts on the field, but the guys that work with him and him too, yeah, I'd want to work in the exact same kind of situation.
I agree. By the way, guys, that catch that Cam Cannarella made for Clemson, and again, guys, I do not have a college baseball Rolodex like I do football, so it's limited. The only play that took my breath away that I've seen defensively was in 17. It was LSU, and I don't know if it was in the final series against Florida, but he made a play at the middle where he did the wraparound, where he went around his back and then threw it in one motion. And that was the kid, who's the kid that's the third baseman for Houston now, and he was the shortstop at LSU.
It's why am I forgetting his name? I know it's Bregman, Alex Bregman.
Yeah, Bregman made a play like that I just remember going, I've never seen anybody do that. I mean, I saw Brooks Robert. Now, he was a third baseman. But I've seen some, Ozzie Smith, I never saw do that. He probably could, but that's the only play that I've seen that rivals that play in center field that I've seen.
So it's funny how you brought up what Tony had said about if you're looking to get paid, you're not coming here. Same weekend that Texas football had the visits where you know what I'm getting at here. All those Lamborghinis. I mean, if it was actually hilarious to see that there, but it's reality too. It wasn't a joke.
That's where we're at, man. That is not a let's take a photo op moment. That is real. That's real, and that's where we're at, and it's not going the other way. That's the world we're in.
I guess we just have to be okay with it too. I mean, that's the other aspect of this as well. It's we all have, the opinions of it should be this way, it should be that way, but it's not the way that it is. And you just have to be able to to adjust to it, I guess. What do you think about Texas coming in here this next year for football, Oklahoma coming in this next year for football? I've been asking some of our guests, what sport is most affected by those two schools becoming members of the Southeastern Conference?
It's not even close, softball.
Huh. Well, look, they just played for the national title. You're right.
I mean, it's not even. We may want to argue about how where softball is on the hierarchy of popularity and interest, but if you're just talking about dominant juggernaut program, Oklahoma's got 4 in a row. John Wooden won every one between 67 and 73. Connecticut basketball, I think, didn't Gino win 4 in a row at some point? I believe
so,
he
yes.
did. But, I mean, that's rarefied air, right? That's crazy is what that is. Apparently, Oklahoma softball, guys, is Alabama football when it comes to recruiting. They go anywhere.
Well, I doubt that's going to stop anytime soon. Not going to stop anytime soon. Did you pour one out for the Pac-12 now that they don't have any programs left in college baseball? The Pac-12 is dead. I know they've got 2 teams left, but come on, that's not even a real conference right now. We knew it was coming. The death of the Pac-12 doesn't exist any longer, and I guess you can call it the Conference of Champions to a point, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Trivia question. Name the school that put the Pac-12 out of their misery, Kentucky baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Last game.
That is right. That is exactly right. Man, you think we'll ever get back to a place where there might be some regionality in college sports? I mean, it would take the blow up of the current system, and our system is changing pretty dramatically, but do you ever think it gets to the point to where we get regional again?
Not as long as TV's writing the checks, which that's the breadwinner right there. And we've had more land grabs. The Big Ten went and grabbed LA, and the Pacific Northwest, SEC grabbed what was left of Texas, and then Oklahoma, another big time power. No, I think as long as we're chasing the network dollars, it's not going to be regionalized.
I heard you brought up Penn State yesterday and an important season for James Franklin. You know, I don't think he's never beaten Michigan, never beaten Ohio State. You see this as potentially a year, well, maybe not Ohio State, but Michigan takes a step back. Is this a year where Franklin really has to kind of like make ends meet in a certain way where Penn State fans expect?
I think it's a big year. And Michigan's going to be stout again on defense. They've got a ton to replace on offense, so they can't have. I think 9-3 would be a solid year for them. I know they probably wouldn't agree with me, but I do. Yeah, Penn State doesn't need to lose both those games. Now, if we're going to change the topic to would they get rid of James, I don't think so. I don't think that they're going to run him if indeed he can't beat Michigan after all the transitioning they're doing. But it further damages his resume. I do know that. Yeah, I do know that. It's very important.
Who is the other team then that you have? Because I have Ohio State in the playoff 12, and I have Penn State as well. Do you think that comes down to Penn State or Michigan who gets the second berth into the playoffs?
I mean, it could be 3. I think it's very likely that many years we could have 3 from the SEC and the Big Ten, depending. I think the SEC gets 3 to 4 in this year. I think 3 might be on the low end, but it could be Michigan and Penn State. I don't know. If Michigan at 9-3, that's iffy, right? I mean, it's possible. 3. We've done we did the work, maybe a year and a half ago, guys, and we looked up 3-loss teams historically. And there are 17 different times when a 3-loss team would have gotten in a 12-team playoff. That's not unusual. It's going to happen. It may be, Matt, it may be both of them.
Yeah, and I forget with Oregon and Washington, which one of those teams do you think has more success in the Big Ten? We've done a lot of Texas and Oklahoma going into the SEC, but with Oregon and Washington changing conferences as well.
Duckies right now, clearly. Clearly, Washington's got a massive overhaul of personnel, and even the guys that were highly thought of, a lot of them that had to return transferred. Ole Miss took 2 Washington starting offensive linemen. I'm not talking about guys that watched them play, guys that were on the field for a national championship. Ole Miss took 2 of them. They got a big transition.
You're going to go into the idea of a 9-team win in the playoff. I heard you talk, Matt. I heard him yesterday on his show talking about would any of James Franklin teams at Vanderbilt made it to the college football playoff? Just think of that sentence for a moment. Would any of Vanderbilt's teams made it to the college football playoff? It's a legitimate question yesterday, and you did kick it around a little bit, but the answer at the end was no.
They were ranked, I believe, at best 20th or 23rd. He did it. He won 9 games back-to-back years, which is at Vanderbilt, you might as well put a national championship banner. Just claim it, right?
Who's the Penn State of the SEC? Is it, national titles, legendary coach, 100,000-seat stadium? Is it Tennessee? Is it Florida? Florida didn't have that big of a stadium. Tennessee does. Is it a decent comparison, Tennessee to Penn State?
I think so. I've always compared Tennessee and Michigan, and Michigan's got a recent natty. But remember, last time Michigan won it was 97, and then Tennessee won it in 98. I'm not suggesting. I think Tennessee is a potential playoff team, but they're not a championship team this year. But I think, boy, I think it's interesting that Tennessee would be similar. And I remember as a kid in the early 70s, Penn State with Lydell Mitchell and Franco Harris coming to Knoxville. Early 70s. I was a kid, and it was relatively early Paterno. And so there is a little bit, and of course, you're from Pittsburgh. You've got the Johnny Majors connection there. But, yeah, similar. I've always thought Michigan and Tennessee were similar. Big state fan base expects usually more than you can deliver, and you have a number of haters. Michigan, other than Notre Dame, has as many haters as anybody, but Tennessee does too. Got to remember, Tennessee, let's just begin, Tennessee, Alabama, big time hate. Tennessee, Georgia hate. Tennessee, Florida with Spurrier hate. Vanderbilt cannot stand Tennessee. Guys, there are Kentucky fans that will tell you we hate Tennessee more than Louisville. It's true. I've always compared them just based on haters.
That's always a good comparison. Like, truly a great comparison to go with. Yeah. Bill, we'll leave it there up against a break. I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
He's worth some of your time Monday through Friday, 6 to 9, WNSR. Bill King joining us each Tuesday here on Halftime. Hey, we got a visit from Joey Clampett at Clampett's Country Kitchen a couple of weeks ago while I was in studio at ESPN Arkansas. And, man, did he bring us some food. We had barbecue pork. We had pulled pork. We had all the sides that were mixed in there. We had chopped brisket. The chopped brisket was my favorite. That was absolutely amazing. Clampett's Country Kitchen is located Highway 7 North in Hot Springs, one of the state's largest meat markets. Hand-cut steaks. They can cut them right to your specifications. Much more. They can also make you very special snack sticks to your specifications of spice levels. They can just personalize it for you the way you want. Plus over 30 flavors of jerky, 20 flavors of snack sticks. You got 20 flavors of brats, smoked sausage, and boudin. Summer sausage and house smoked deli meats and cheeses are on display right now at Clampett's Country Kitchen and Meat Market. They serve barbecue from 10 till 6, Monday through Saturday, and plate lunch specials 10 to 2 daily. More information online, ClampettsCountryKitchen.com. Halftime back for the home stretch right after this.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
Celebrate freedom in a new RV from Camping World in Van Buren, Arkansas. For a limited time, get into a new RV starting at just $104 per month and see America for less. As part of America's #1 RV network, we've got an RV for every lifestyle and a payment for every budget. Buy with confidence at Camping World, knowing every RV comes with a 3-year Good Sam Elite membership and access to our nationwide service network. Make sure your next summer adventure is the best one yet. Click, call, or visit Camping World in Van Buren today. Certain restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
It started as a dream, and here you are. It's moving day. But wait, isn't moving supposed to be stressful? Oh, that's right. You bought your home using Weichert Realtors. Your Weichert agent guided you from start to finish to help make sure we found you your perfect place. Dream, move, home, Weichert. Call your local Weichert Realtors office today and make your move. And look for our bright yellow signs. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, into the home stretch of halftime. I'd seen the odds on the College World Series have come out on BetSaracen earlier this morning, now that the field is set. Tennessee is the favorite, plus 250. Texas A&M, plus 300. Kentucky, third favorite, 450. North Carolina is the ACC's best option, plus 750. Florida State and Virginia, plus 1,000. NC State, plus 1,100. And Florida all the way down at plus 1,600. Those are the odds right now on the College World Series on BetSaracen. Of course, NBA Finals, NHL Finals as well. All the Major League Baseball games, and a whole lot of other stuff going on in the world of sports. You can put your money on it right now on BetSaracen. Just make sure you're inside the state of Arkansas to do it. Otherwise, it will not work. BetSaracen app on your Apple iPhone or Google Android and any web browser, BetSaracen.com. So you got some expanded video replay coming up for basketball for next year. That's good. And suspensions for abuse and threats towards officials at the same time. Anyone who disrespectfully contacts an official or makes a threat of physical intimidation or harm, which would include pushing, shoving, spitting, or attempting to make physical contact with an official, is penalized a one-game suspension for the following game. I guess it would have been I'm a little surprised this already wasn't written into the rules.
What sport is this?
Basketball.
Okay.
Men's and women's basketball.
You're taught you're not supposed to touch the official. It's a no-no.
Going to have experimental rules for the 2025 NIT. Think what you want about the NIT, but the experimental rules are kind of interesting. It's like with the SEC baseball tournament, we had the double first base which is obviously very experimental. We'll see if it makes its way to the game normally. Appealing out-of-bounds calls. So a coach can appeal an out-of-bounds call for video replay in the final 2 minutes of a game. It eliminates officials' voluntary ability to review out-of-bounds calls in the final 2 minutes. So, yeah, review of the calls correlates to the number of timeouts remaining. It's interesting.
They got to change that rule to where if you get fouled on the play, because they'll do that. Somebody slaps their wrist or slaps the arm, and they'll say, okay, the ball was out on them, but then they'll look back and watch the replay and say they actually never touched the ball. They just fouled them. But then they give the ball back to the team that fouled them. So that's what they got to clear up, whatever level they're at.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the idea that you're looking at one thing, but you can look at a second thing at the same time if it's pretty obvious.
You just want to get them right. Let's get it right and move on. If that's what we're doing, we're trying to get the play. You're trying to get it right. You don't It's like if you're not talking about the officials after the game, then they probably did a good job. I mean, that's just kind of it's a thankless job type of thing. Nobody ever goes out there and says, "Man, those officials got all the calls right." It's like they only notice it when they mess up. So it's like if you can just go out there and do your job and be consistent, get the play right, then it's good living.
They don't want any sort of aggressive moves towards the officials either.
Well, I think a little bit of that is too. There's a lot of lady officials now too, and so you definitely got to be careful in the heat of the moment as being a male touching a female like that too. So I think that's part of they're kind of doing that as well.
It's aggressiveness from the officials that sometimes gets us all out of whack, and that was a thing from the Clemson ejection a couple of days ago that really got me. Was you could see in the conversation between Eric Bakich and Van Raphorst, the umpire who threw him out of the game, is that the initial aggression came from the umpire. And it wasn't like he was pushing and shoving or anything, but when you start pointing fingers, that to me is an aggressive move. They're pointing a finger right at somebody towards his face, even though they try to keep the head coaches and the umpires apart, because you've seen this year. If you paid attention during that argument, the umpire, and I've seen this with Van Horn this last year too, and I don't remember it until this year, was the umpire would always take spot in fair territory along a baseline, and the head coach has to stand across the first baseline or the third baseline. You'll notice I won't call them foul lines. So it's can't get in your face. Somebody starts walking away where you're not supposed to cross the line. And I guess Bakich gets suspended for the first game or two for next year. It was like it was Hayden Henry. You remember Hayden Henry he got suspended for the opening game of, I think it was the 2022 season, because he had gotten a targeting penalty, I think, in the Outback Bowl. I might get one of my seasons off here, but he had a suspension carry over from the year before. Makes sense you can do that. Hitting streaks in baseball carry over from one year to the next too. Anyway, those were all the odds on the College World Series here.
The Pistons are the last champion to have 7 or more wins consecutively in the NBA, and I think Boston's going to that number. They got 2 right there, but they won the Indiana series.
A 7-game winning streak in the playoffs?
Yeah, to keep it talking about streaks continuing. So if they win, they'll finish with the longest winning streak to finish an NBA championship.
That's
if they sweep.
How many games has Boston lost in the postseason?
2.
It's a pretty impressive run.
Those game 2s. There's a couple game 2s right there. Miami, I know, beat them once. Indiana beat them once. Did Atlanta win one game? I don't know if Atlanta won a game. I think they got swept 4-0. So there was 2 game 2s. That's the thing, Phil. Boston, they just kind of they got that extra gear. I mean, they really do. They wasn't very strenuous for them the playoff run.
They say, all right, so I guess this just came out. Kristaps Porzingis has, quote, a rare leg injury, unquote. That's all they're saying about it, a rare injury.
I'm telling you that they had him being springy and running around, and it's one of those deals where you're going to need multiple days off, but I wouldn't play him down in Dallas, and maybe you can get him for one more game, but you got to hold him out. And the thing too, so Phil, every other game they get 2 days off. They only get 1 day off on this Dallas trip, so it's going to be a game, a day off in game instead of two games off, 2 days off in between games.
That's interesting. They're pulling that. Yeah, I've never seen this before. Usually it's like, okay, upper body or lower body, or just injury. If I see the word rare,
it's not good
in front of injury, I would think something weird is going on here. But then again, these are the things you wouldn't expect be side by side. Rare injury and day by day going together here. He's day by day with a rare injury right now.
But that's the thing. If you get him for 7 minutes a half, and you can get him at that free throw line extended, and he doesn't have to move a lot, and he's just kind of staying there, he can be beneficial. It's if you're trying to play him those fourth quarter minutes, and you're trying to play him late in the game where he has to react and be springy. I don't think he can. I said before the series, I didn't think he would finish the series. That could be advantage Dallas.
Meanwhile, your boy Luka had a pain-killing injection right where he had that contusion, right in his chest, only to be able to go out there and play and basically keep Dallas in the game for as long as he possibly could. So you got Porzingis, who can barely run. You got Luka, who's got 2 or 3 things going on too. And, man, he needs all the help in the world.
Kyrie's got to show up.
Absolutely.
Your role players got to show up. Phil, I haven't seen anything like it all playoffs. They are staying in front of Kyrie. That Minnesota couldn't do it. They're making it hard for Kyrie because that's just kind of the game. It's like take your turns. That's what Dallas offense is. It's Luka and Kyrie doing their thing. Bigs go to the rim and attack. Other players stay on the 3-point line and shoot that 3 when I dish it to you. And Kyrie just hasn't had his game yet. I think he'll figure it out. I think this is the game where he'll have plus 30. You remember when I think it was Rick Carlisle was the coach of the Mavs, and they beat the LeBron James Heat. And one of the things I learned from listening to him talk was, hey, LeBron is going to get his, but we got to stop D Wade. And I see Boston doing that. Luka's going to get his. He'll get his triple. But if we can stop Kyrie, they don't have nothing else. And that's kind of the matchup right there. Kyrie's going to have to show up.
Stay with us. Back to wrap up halftime right after this.
This is halftime.
The Lynx at Chaffee Crossing prides itself in providing award-winning barbecue. Whether you're craving ribs, pork, brisket, or chicken, we can satisfy any appetite. Stop in and watch Razorback Baseball and enjoy everyday food and drink specials like $2 domestic beer or $3 premiums. The Lynx at Chaffee Crossing is here and ready to serve you the best barbecue in the River Valley. The Lynx at Chaffee Crossing next to Deer Trails Golf Course. Come see us.
Sunday, June 16th is Father's Day, so honor your special dad with a gift from Jelco Outdoors. Gifts for the working dad, fishing dad, hunting dad, hiking dad, gifts for any dad, Ariat and Wrangler shirts, 25% off for the casual and western dad. Savage Axis 2 rifles as low as $399.99 with $75 mail-in rebate. Andro AR-15 5.56 rifles, only $499.99. And Jelco gift cards are always a perfect fit. Shop Jelco Outdoors for dad this Father's Day.
Locally owned Jaeger's Ace Hardware is ready to make the summer and Father's Day even better. Now through June 17th, save up to $200 on Traeger Pro 34, Pro 575, and Ironwood XL wood pellet grills. For as little as $499, you can own the gold standard in outdoor grills. And Traeger pellets are $2 off per bag as well. Want a big green egg instead? Jaeger's has those and all the accessories Dad will ever need. Your outdoor grill headquarters is Jaeger's Ace Hardware, where we always offer real service with real savings.
Hi everybody, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, and we need your trade. This month, the trade-in acquisition event continues with up to 27% bonus cash on your trade on any one of our road-ready certified used cars with warranty. You can't buy a better used car, and you can't pick a better time than right now. Up to 27% bonus cash for your trade, another reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Jam Mart. Jam Mart is always trying to save you money, and that's why they partner with Valero. Hook up your checking account to the Valero Pay Plus app, and you'll get 10 cents off a gallon, plus other special deals on holidays and more. Jam Mart and Valero, passing on the savings to you. Now available at the 3 Fort Smith Valero Jam Mart locations. And stop by any of the 6 Jam Mart locations in the area. Jam Mart, the leading gas station and convenience store in the region.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Dial Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Dallas Street Dental. Refuse to compromise when it comes to replacing missing teeth. Dr. Bill Ligon at Dallas Street Dental can make your smile look, feel, and function almost exactly the way it did before you lost any teeth. In some cases, even better. Dental implants function like your natural teeth and make it possible for you to enjoy those juicy steaks this grilling season. Look younger and smile with confidence with dental implants from Dallas Street Dental. Schedule your free implant consultation today at 479-452-6600.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance neath the cover of October skies. You know the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. You know I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. You know the night's magic seems to whisper. You know the soft moonlight seems to shine. You blush.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Okay, just to be real quick about this, if you want any entertainment, go to Buster Olney's Twitter and look him up from yesterday. Somebody hacked Buster Olney's Twitter yesterday, and it was really entertaining. Really entertaining. The other thing is Joey Chestnut has been banned from the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest because he's got a sponsorship deal with Impossible Foods, which makes the no meat meat.
Well, as you get older, you got to get better care of yourself.
Well, this gives him an opportunity to start his very own vegan hot dog eating contest, which I'm sure there are plenty of folks who will get in on that one just because it's Joey Chestnut. And it's probably going to be better for you. Now, come on, those vegan hot dogs are loaded with so much sodium.
Do they still call it a gullet when they dip it into the water and then they don't even chew? You
mean something to be shoved down? Because when I think of gullet, I think of something that's getting shoved down the gullet.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how talented those guys are, because it's I couldn't even think about it. You talk about Jake Paul getting in the ring with Mike Tyson. It's like, would you rather try to beat Joey Chestnut in a hot dog eating contest or get in a ring with Mike Tyson?
By the way, did you see the Tyson-Jake Paul fight has been rescheduled November?
I'm telling you, your body at 60 years old going through that, it's you don't hope he doesn't have a heart attack out there in the middle of the ring.
Probably because Tyson ate too many regular hot dogs from the ulcer. It's just it causes some problems.
Still interested in the fight whenever it gets here? You still
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to see this thing.
Yeah.
As someone that grew up watching Mike Tyson in real fights, I guess this is a real fight too. You bet your bottom dollar I want to see that. And then I want to see Greg Maddux pitch to Shohei Ohtani, just because it's basically the same thing. although that's calling Jake Paul way more than he really is. Thanks for listening to Halftime today. For Matt Jones, for C Maverick, I'm Phil, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. Now get up, get out, and get better.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money.